long story short, I think you should just let your kids watch whatever you want. You
Yeah.
know, whatever they want. As long I mean, there's a line, but
Yeah.
they should be able to watch whatever they want. It's not the cartoons that would do it. I was like, look at me. I grew up watching SpongeBob and all this shit, and I turned out pretty good. You know, I got a successful job. I got a good family. And then there's my buddy who grew up watching VeggieTales, and he has 3 counts of child molestation or something.
Oh my god!
And I was like,
oh shit! I didn't see that one coming.
So let your kids watch this shows.
Neither do those kids.
I'm loading the meat. 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 I don't even know what it means, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. Hey, I'm loading the meat. 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 I'm loading the meat.
This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by your favorite mattress company, such as Saatva, Purple, hell, even Sealy Posturepedic. Do they even still make that one, Stefano? I don't know. I haven't bought a mattress in quite a while, ever. I usually just get the one left behind from the divorce. And, real talk, it's kind of hard to go back to that same mattress every night now that it's just me and, the one that was my marital bed where someone used to spoon me and tell me everything's going to be okay. Every night I just wish that I had a sponsorship from a mattress company such as Saatva. My next guest is the ultra funny and hilarious Garrett Barbie. What's up, Garrett?
What's up, man? Super
Nothing
happy
much.
to be here.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate you inviting me, man.
No problem, man. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a drive.
I took some crazy back roads I wasn't expecting, but it wasn't too bad.
Well, thank you so much for being on, man.
I appreciate it.
First things first, what got you into comedy?
Man, I've always wanted to do it since I was a little kid. I mean, way too early, watching Eddie Murphy Raw and stuff, and I said my whole life, like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and I kept pussing out, honestly, and I'm not scared to get up in front of people, but it's different getting up in front of people and hoping you're funny.
Yeah.
You know, like, you think you're funny, and then you might not be, and finally my wife called me a hypocrite one time because I was giving this big, long deal to my daughter, do stuff you're afraid to do,
Yeah.
don't be scared, and she called me out on it. She's like, you're a hypocrite. Ever since I've known you, you wanted to be a stand-up comic, but you won't even try it. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it,
Yeah.
And, man, my first set ever was 10 minutes. And
First set?
my first set.
Holy
and,
crap.
man, I had so much anxiety. I almost left. I was so nervous to go in. And I was literally sitting in my truck like, you know what, I'm going to back out and leave. And then I thought, I was like, I am a fucking hypocrite. I need to do it. And
At least you can self-recognize that. you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, and I knew if I left, I was going to be mad at myself. And I did that first one, and I got booked that night on my first show. And, then I got a little cocky about it and ate some humble pie a few shows later. I was like, man, I can't miss right now. Like, I came out swinging, and I was like, I'm perfect. Like, I'm too good at this. And
Yeah.
Then I did a show at the Deco one night, and, man, about 15 minutes of just teetotal silence. I mean, like, people started just talking. They were like, yeah, this guy's terrible. We're going to, it was terrible. And it humbled me up for sure. I started taking writing and stuff a little bit more serious. And
We all need it.
yeah. And then I'm going to bomb again. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
But
I just talked on the last episode I shot with Alex Horner. Shout out to Alex. We talked about how I had a really bad bomb in February at the Cellar. And it was, I think I talked to you off air, I had a panic attack on stage.
yeah.
And it was more because I was trying to do a story. I was trying to get ready for my first showcase the following week. And I was like, I want to try out this story. And I wasn't confident in it. I got into my head and just completely anxiety fucked up the story midway through. And it just hit me hard. And I bombed. And I'm okay with bombing. But the problem was that story in context starts with me dropping the F word. Because I'm talking, it's a quote from what happens in the story. I'm not going to spoil it. But also, it's a bad story. I need to work on it. But anyway, I was so in my head about this that completely just bombed.
Yeah.
And I wasn't so bad about. I had a panic attack on stage, gave the mic to Roscoe, and then I went and threw up in the bathroom. Like I was that. It happened hard. And then I was like,
Is this like hyperventilating? And...
like the world's closing down. I'm thinking my body is like, I'm gonna pass out. Like it's like hyperventilating. Yeah, the world, like I'm just going down a black hole kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, it like you feel the in your chest, everything. It just sweat, everything.
Yeah.
It's just not fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought in my head that I was offending people. It wasn't so much that I bombed. I thought I offended people. So I was telling Roscoe in text, like, take me off the showcase next week. I shouldn't be doing this shit. And I was all in my head. He's like, no, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And he kind of straightened me out and he got me off that ledge. And I'm grateful that he did because I ended up having a pretty good set, I feel, at the showcase the next week. But yeah, it happens. You're going to bomb. I bomb hard. And it's just, like I said, I felt I was offending people. That's when I got in my head bad. And I really wasn't because I asked people later and they're like, I don't even remember your set.
Which is always good to hear.
Yeah.
It's like, who you were there? Yeah.
I would rather you not remember the bomb than remember me having a panic attack and throwing up in the cellar.
Yeah. Yeah. When I bombed at Deco, it's I can honestly say I haven't done it much. I've had, bad nights and nights that didn't go as good as hoped, but that night at the Deco, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna do it. Fresh Faces.
Yeah. I just got booked.
It's so well lit. When I did Fresh Faces, it was great. I had a good time. Michael gave me a little extra time.
Shout out to Michael, by the way. Shout out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, he's put me on quite a bit of stuff.
Patton, right?
Yeah.
Michael Patton. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with last names. Horrible.
Well, that's
Like,
why.
that's
That's why I changed mine to Barbie, so people will remember it.
That's why I had to ask you multiple times. I'm just horrible with last names. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, after Deco, and I bombed there, and it's well lit, so I can. It's not like a regular comedy club where I can't see past the first row.
Yeah.
It's just looking at 50 just disappointed people. Yeah. I hated it. I was shocked he ended up turning around and booking me for a different show, and only other time I've done super bad like that was right when my mom was in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I still need to go out and do it. And I went out and even the people in the crowd are like, where's this guy going with this shit? And I feel it and I know I'm losing it. And I was like, you can have it back. I don't want to do it anymore. But I don't know. Like I said, I just took it, especially after I bombed. I took it so much more serious. Yeah. And I learned pretty quick winging it doesn't work either. And so I ended up getting meticulous about everything I write and how I was going to do it. And it's gone extremely well. And I think I have one in April in Plano. And
nice.
I've been eating it up. I just want to get, I don't necessarily want to sell out the BOK Center. I just want to get to where that's what I do. That'd be phenomenal. But
agreed. That's where I am with this. This is the year I push fully into the podcasting and stand up. I put everything into this.
Right.
But I'm trying to really push to where by the end of the year I can at least get a couple sponsors to where this is self-sufficient. I'm making money to where I can just be comedy full time.
Right.
I'm close. We're so close. It's just really trying to push it through. It just takes a lot of work and time.
But there is at the same time in Tulsa comedy, the scene, there's so many good people, man.
Yeah.
Whether they're hilarious or they just do it for the love of the game or they suck. It was the same thing when I came into it. Like I said, I was so nervous, and Brian Bizjack was the first one I met.
Yeah.
And
I actually just talked to him today. He's we're trying to book him for the show before I go on the Intel Attack next.
Yeah, Brian's a good dude, man.
Shout out to Brian. Brian's been nothing but an awesome to me.
Yeah, he's as good as they come. We've done shows together. He's cleaner than I am, but he's funny, man. Yeah. Brian's good, man. I enjoy him. He the only insult attack thing I've done was with Brian, and it was a teams deal. He decided to do this 5 against 5 deal. It was me, Dakota Six Killer, Cepeda, and that's
a lineup.
Oh, we killed, and that's the only one I've done. I went home champion. I was like, it's good enough. I had a joke one night, and I don't necessarily care about being offensive or anything because it's jokes, I don't mean anything by it. I have gay friends. I don't have a trans friend. I've met cool ones, I don't have anything against any of it. It's like religion, man. If that's what you believe, cool. It affects my life zero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I was gonna do Starlight one night, and I did have a joke that I knew if I took to Starlight was pushing it. It was a true story about this homeless lady in downtown calling me a faggot. and I had this bit written out about how fag and faggot, there's a huge difference. Like,
Yeah.
your buddy calls you fag, and it's fun. And man, I got in so much shit that night for that.
Yeah.
Before I ever even went to Starlight, I
Yeah.
ended up not going. And I was getting like attacked, like, you can't tell these jokes. I'm like, I have nothing against it, And
Yeah.
it wasn't even a gay thing. It was just how there's a difference in fag and faggot. And I don't try to offend people. I'm not gonna say I haven't. I definitely have. My comedy's not clean. I got accused of being gay or a homophobe one time by this lady after a show, and half my set was my wife fucking me in my ass. So how am I a homophobe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I thought for the longest time one of my best friends was gay. Like, it didn't bother me. It just I've always wanted someone to come out to me.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with I have something against gays. I've just always wanted one of my buddies to be like, dude, I've been striking out for fucking 5 years.
Yeah.
It's because I like dudes. Like, that'd be awesome. That'd
Yeah.
change my whole life. So I took him on a drive. I was like, dude, just admit it. Like, and just be straight up with me. And then, he attacks me. He's like, why would you get super shitty? I was like, I don't know, man. I just assumed. He was like, I'm not. And I was like, well, I don't care, man.
I came out to my friends and like they were just like, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they took it better than my family. I mean, I have the family members that won't talk to me right now.
But see, that's such horseshit to
It's
me.
just, it's
It'd be
one
like
of those things.
you being like, oh, by the way, I'm Mormon. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It's just, it means nothing to me.
Yeah.
That's who you are. It's
Yeah.
like the same thing, like I said, with religion.
Like
If
I'm not religious, but I
I'm not
respect
either.
I respect people that are.
Same.
People can have their beliefs as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else and affect anybody else. Is my
Yeah.
personal thing.
Like I said,
But yeah,
you being gay, trans, Mormon, Catholic, Jewish, it affects my life zero.
Yeah.
So it does not.
yeah.
It means nothing to me.
I mean, I dealt with that shit for years. I mean, that's part of where I was like suicidal and shit. Cause like I was assaulted I was sexually assaulted when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Fucked with my way of viewing gender and sex my whole life, basically.
Yeah.
So much so I didn't even tell both my wives didn't even know
Right.
until my second wife left me. And my suicide letter that I converted to like a letter to her was my confession to her. That was the only person I'd ever told. And it was like 20 years I dealt with it.
Yeah.
And then I went and got therapy and kind of cracked the code on everything.
Does it work?
Yes.
It does.
I'm not gonna be a saying advocate that says like 100% go to therapy right now for everybody.
Right,
It's
yeah.
not for everybody,
Yeah.
but it could be
Mhm.
if you find the right therapist. You gotta find somebody that you click with that is just, hey, I can connect and talk to this person as just like a friend
Right.
and on a personal level. If you can find that and just go in there knowing that nobody's permanent, you can get any therapist you want.
Right.
Go in that mindset and then have goals about what you want to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, therapy could solve pretty much anything, I think.
I thought about going, because I have so much hatred towards my dad.
Yeah.
And a lot of my set is my dad, and
Stand up's a version of therapy too, dude. I honestly think
100%,
it's
100%.
it's helped me be so much more comfortable with myself and just like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, I even went out there in a crop top once. Like,
Yeah.
just, it made me better about my weight and everything too. Like, it just
100%.
you feel like it's therapeutic.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And like I said, when I was hitting open mics while my mom was in the hospital, I was sucking. I wasn't even mentally even in the room to be there. But I kept digging at it, And man, after my mom was my buddy. I
Yeah.
hate my dad. If he died today, I'd be like, high five. We would fucking kill it. But my mom was my best friend. Like,
Yeah.
I loved my mom. She was strong. She was. I told her shit I haven't told my wife. Like,
Yeah.
When she died, I started writing jokes about her dying, and before I know it, I'm on stage and I'm completely over it.
Yeah.
Like, nothing. I don't regret anything with my mom, and I had this whole deal written out. It was a true story about her catching me jacking off when I was 17, and I turned it into a true joke, and I'm a true believer. Like, getting on stage and make something that's not funny, like my mom dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Make it funny, and
Yeah.
it's like my wife's dad committed suicide, and that was her best friend, And at home though, I just feel like you can joke about whatever,
Yeah.
not just at home, but in general, as long as it's not like hate speech. Like
Yeah.
there's a big difference in joking.
Tone and intent.
for sure.
Just like with your jokes, I think pretty much if the person really listens to your set and actually genuinely listens,
Mhm.
they can tell intent.
Yeah. Like I said, I have nothing against anybody.
Yeah.
My wife's dad committed suicide. I make suicide jokes at the house all the time. And my wife's the same as me though, you know. I'm not talking shit on her dad.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to have fun, you know.
But there's also that thing of like, they say laughter's the best medicine, and it really is. And like, a lot of us, me included, have the response to stressful situations to crack jokes or to
Same.
laugh.
My whole life. Yeah.
It's just how you deal with a stressful or a situation.
Mhm.
And you can't help it. It's just a natural thing you have.
Yeah. And my mom was the same way. Like, I remember standing in the room with her when they were like, Rhonda, you're ate up with cancer. You're fucked. You know? And she was like, well, shit. Like, that's all. She was just so fucking, she was so cool about it. And, you know, and I struggled though, you know, because I'm at the same time like, you selfish bitch, you know, like,
Yeah.
get it together, you
Yeah.
know, and because she had lied. She said she went and had this test and they said it was nothing, and she lied 100% about it. And I think she wanted out too on top of that. So there's that to deal with. But I closed that whole joke out because like I said, it's therapy on stage. You know, if I can get people laughing about my mom dying, then I'm laughing about it too.
Yeah.
And I closed the whole thing with, after she caught me jacking off, you know, I was like, so I told her that joke, and I did in the hospital. That's 100% true. Her laying there on a ventilator, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna run this joke by you. I want to see what you think about it. and I tell her this whole joke about me getting caught jacking off, and on stage I wrapped it up with, and I told her this joke, and she immediately got more cancer and died. and
Oh God.
and it's true though, you know.
Yeah.
I told my mom this joke in the worst scenario, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm standing there, and the lady I've ran just dumb shit by my whole life is dying, and I'm like, you know what? Now's a good time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run this by you, see what you think. And like I said, man, I truly believe being on stage, it is therapy.
Yeah.
I make jokes about shit I would never talk to anybody about, which is also fun because I had a buddy show up at a show one night, and I hadn't seen him, you know, since high school. And he comes in, he listens to the whole deal. He's talking to me after, and he's like, the fucked up thing about you is I don't know what was true and what you made up.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I was like, that's the fun of it.
That's the
too,
skill
though.
of it. Yeah.
Is it a joke? Did it really happen? Did my wife really fuck me in my butt?
You
I
be
don't
the
know.
judge.
Yeah, you be the judge.
Yeah.
Because I went to a hypnotherapist one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I genuinely gave it a shot. I was like, you know what? I'll
Did
try it.
Did it work?
Not for me, no. And the whole joke on stage is real. I went home and I told my wife, I was like, I think it's bullshit. And
Yeah.
she was like, no, you just won't let it happen. You won't open your mind enough. My wife's, you know, she's a hippie, and I made this whole joke about me taking her up there, and I told the hypnotherapist, if this works, make my wife love anal. And it all wraps up with her fucking me in my butt. And I'm like, you know, I don't know if it works, but
Yeah.
to this day, you know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I gave it a good shot though. I really did.
Well, I mean,
And-
I talk about pegging in my stuff.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
my Blue Whale submission has me talking. I don't know if you saw it. It was me talking about the only time my ex-wife was into Star Wars when she was shoving a lightsaber up my ass.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
And then some guy in the crowd goes, "This is the way," and I was like, "Oh,
that dude. Yeah,
yeah." Props
Din-
to that dude.
Yeah, he's on Din Djarin's level.
And now now that is in my set. Like I have included "This is the way."
I would too.
It's so good.
Yeah. My buddy Paul, he's unintentionally usually like my film man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if we're at the races, if we're doing comedy that night, or it doesn't matter. He's for whatever reason always like our cameraman. And I've always thought it'd be so fun, especially coming up into comedy now. I've always thought it'd be so fun to have just someone film the fucking trip. You
Yeah.
know, whether it's going, you know, to Sarasota, Florida to do shows, or just going to the Hunt Club.
Yeah.
I just think the journey, like it would be fun.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, I'm a big proponent, and I'm a big fan of like professional wrestling.
Mhm.
I follow AEW. It's I don't know if you know or aware what that is. It's the
I don't
rival.
watch, but I know.
Okay. So like a lot of the AEW wrestlers also do travel vlogs. And they're hugely successful. They do toy
Right.
hunt vlogs, stuff like that, and people want to get to know them. And that's honestly where I've kind of tried to do this is like bring in the way pro wrestlers treat the business
Mhm.
and bring it to comedy, because I see a lot of parallels and similarities between how indie wrestlers work and how
Right.
up and coming comics work. They're very similar in business models and stuff too.
Mhm.
I just think, yeah, you can build a huge viewership and followership or following just by, doing that kind of stuff too.
Right. Well, it's crazy. There's I mean, I'm huge into racing. I grew up very white trash, and we love.
I'm into
racing.
pro wrestling, man. It's okay.
That's fair. Yeah. But there's now, like there's a channel called Hunt the Front.
Okay.
They started with nothing. One was a
sounds
school
like a
teacher.
porn.
It does. I was gonna do a spinoff series called Hunt the Butt, but they came from nothing, just barely affording to race, and they vlogged everything they did, and now racing pays for itself. And then I have a buddy out of Mississippi named Chase Holland, and he's the same way. They just started filming the family going to the races, and before you know it, that's their job now, is to race, and for free. They pay for nothing. And for me and you, like in comedy, there's a million like us that have the same ambition, this is what I hope happens and all that. But I've yet to see someone make a vlog about trying to make it into comedy. And I think especially in the Tulsa scene, man, because it's so overlooked.
Yeah. I honestly think Tulsa's on the bubble, man. Like as far as between Reservation Dogs, Tulsa King, the movies that are being shot in Oklahoma, Watchmen. You heard me talk about it. Like, even bringing up the ugly side of Tulsa that actually needs to be brought up because
First 48.
Shit, dude. Like, I love the Watchmen show on HBO, but it also it made me sad on Twitter the next day because there were so many people that watched that show that thought that was fiction, that they made that up for the show. They didn't realize that actually happened in Tulsa, the Black Wall Street shit. And then they were like, oh my God, it's true. There's a Wikipedia page for it. And then that blew up, and I was just like, but it's true. Like, growing up in this area, it wasn't talked about.
No.
Until I started, I mean, it's a predominantly white area in this area that I grew up.
Yeah.
We're in Okie. We're in Oklahomas.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma. It wasn't until I started getting more, like, I started working with cell phone companies and getting more friends of different nationalities, stuff like that, and upbringings, and started hearing what they grew up with and their history they grew up with. Native American history, stuff like that, is stuff that like they don't teach you in schools very much. And you start seeing all these sides that people are like hush hush about in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
My second episode, I think we talked about the murder and Mullendore murders that happened in like north of here. I don't know if you ever heard about that. There was a famous murder called the Mullendore Ranch Murders, and there's a book about it. And apparently the guy had mafia ties. There's like money like he owed. There's a whole bunch of conspiracy theories about it, and it's never been fully solved. And it took place like 20 miles north of here, and nobody talks about it or knows about it because even that book was like banned for a while to even be sold around here. Like they tried to like just hide it.
Fucking Nazi Germany, Oklahoma.
It's just like that book was worth a lot. I think on one of my episodes we talked about it, and it's on Amazon now for like $80, like the original copies. You can buy it still.
Really?
Yeah, but it's still like a first print. Like they only had like one print of it.
Yeah.
So like my dad told me about those murders back in the day because we grew up in this area, and like he had actually at one point they said like the ranch hand or the guy that was like the farmer's hand or something like that allegedly had been the culprit that did it. And my dad was at a store and ran into him.
Oh yeah.
And that guy was like knowing around to like stay the fuck away from this dude.
Yeah.
And he still lived around here. Like he never was convicted or anything, and he died in like Caney, Kansas. But to this day, everybody still thinks he did it, allegedly.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I'm sure it happens in every state.
Yeah.
That they just like hush hush about shit.
Yeah,
but
this happened like in the 70s or 80s.
if it wasn't for my mom and dad telling me about the quote unquote race riots, we didn't even fucking brush that in school.
No.
And
I didn't know about it until in all honesty, I didn't know about it until 5 years before that came out on Watchmen, just because I had a black employee that I became really close personal friends with, and to this day I consider like a sister. And she told me that history, and I was like, "What?" And then it's just you didn't know, it's just not talked about.
Right. I switched. I went to Tulsa Public Schools my whole life, so I was literally one of, a handful of white kids in the whole school. So I didn't give it, the race bullshit meant nothing to me all through school. I was the class clown. So
yeah. Like my school couldn't be racist because we only had like one black guy. So like if there was a racist school, it's like we got to get Trevor. Like it's just like, you know what I mean? Like there's just one.
Yeah.
Like
I transferred.
And we had to have a good football team, guys. So there was no racism happening there.
Yeah. I transferred from Tulsa to a small town, and I went from, like I said, being a handful of white kids in
Yeah.
the school to a school that's 100% white, and it was shell shock for me. I was like just true culture shock. Like,
Yeah.
they're listening to George Strait and shit, and I'm just like,
It's crazy the pockets that you hit. Like,
it is. And we had a Klan in our neighborhood or in our town, and man,
What? Oh my god.
we did, and I used to fuck with these guys. I was 16. I didn't give a shit, and man, we would literally. I knew where they were at.
Yeah.
I thought about writing bits about it, but the only way I can say it in my head is like. So I got involved with the Klan, and then I know I'm just gonna lose everybody. But we knew where they were at, and my buddy JD was Hispanic, and you wouldn't guess it, but he is, you know. And we used to go fuck with these guys to where they would chase us, and JD used to panic, like if they fucking catch us, they'll kill us, but we used to just nonstop, and I look back at it, because I went from like I said, if you were even remotely racist, where I went to school before I moved to my town I live in, you got the shit beat out of you, and so the racism shit never happened at school, really, like we had Hispanics and Asians and blacks, and then I moved to this all white town with everybody's mom and dad's got money, and I started fucking with the Klan, and out of the whole school, JD's the only one that's like 2% Hispanic, and he's panicking because they're gonna, I guess, do a DNA test when they catch us and fucking kill him. But we used to get them to chase us. Like we would sneak onto their property and go fuck with these guys that obviously mean business. And I couldn't I don't even know if they're still there. We used to sneak out there just to fuck with these guys, just so they would chase us and watch JD have a panic attack. And I've never understood it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't hate anything that bad.
Me either. I never understood it either. Like it's funny. Like not funny, but it's funny to me. I can look back at it and kind of laugh in hindsight. Like also like the amount of like homophobic shit that happened back in the day.
Yeah.
Just like there's like repressed memories I have of like not until like therapy or I brought up to somebody that I'm like, oh yeah, like. One time I got into like almost a fist fight with another guy in like 8th grade football. And the coach punished us by saying that we were both faggots and then making us hold hands in full uniform and run laps holding hands as a couple.
I watched my coach do that.
And we did that, and the whole squad got to laugh at us. Look at the gay couple. That's what I grew up with, and it's just like a repressed memory. Like I didn't even remember it until I was like, oh shit, yeah, that did happen. Oh fuck. Yeah. That was kind of fucked up, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like the town I moved to, the few kids that came out gay after school was over,
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
It's a small country school. There's no way if I was gay, there was no way I would have ever had the balls, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you shake it all you want, talk shit on it or whatever. It takes a lot of balls to come out.
Yeah.
Even in today's time where it's more acceptable than ever.
Yeah.
I think it takes so much balls to come out and be like, hey man, I'm gay or I'm bi or I'm trans.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened at my school. And we weren't homophobic, but it was a small country school. You never would have.
Now you go to like my kids, are in the area schools and stuff like that, and it's like nothing. Like it's like it's 2023. The kid, this generation is so cool with it as far as just be who you want to be.
It is crazy.
Like you identify as this, cool. What's for lunch? Like that's just how they are about everything, and it's like.
Yeah, it's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Even in school, I mean, there was kids that we went to school with. That I'm like, I'm pretty sure, he's gay. Then when they did come out after school, can you believe that? I'm like, yeah. He made it pretty obvious without officially saying it, and I just in today's time, I just felt like you should be able to come out. And I've never understood that at all. The hatred towards it or any of that. Because like I said,
it has to be stemmed in fear. Fear of the unknown and fear that it's just
because like I said, it affects my life zero.
Yeah.
If that's genuinely what makes someone happy, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
It's like it goes right, like I said, to religion. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and it's like So like when I came out to my family, it was at Thanksgiving last year, as one is to do.
Mhm.
You know, during a fight.
It always seems like Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where like I didn't even mean to. Like I identify as bi, but like I meant to say I have a bit about this. I meant to say I was bi, but in that one moment there was like a little devil and angel was like gay sounds better. So I was like, what if I was gay?
Yeah.
And I
more
just said,
hardcore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sounds better. And they were like, they didn't know how to take it. And then I stormed out and then it turned into a big old thing, and now they don't talk to me and stuff, and it's like it's starting this huge thing.
See,
But like it's now one of those things where it's like we don't have a problem with your choices, even though we think, you know, religiously you're going to hell kind of thing.
mm,
And it's one of those things where like I don't need love with an asterisk
right.
kind of
yeah.
shit. And I'm like, if you're gonna be like, keep me at arm's length and like, yeah, just don't talk about it or like hug us or anything like that. We find you gross now.
Yeah. You will catch the gay.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't need that shit. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'll just gonna make fun of you in my stand up nonstop.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah, fuck them.
It's crazy to me though. Like people turning on people because that's what
Yeah,
they like. Who gives a shit?
and it's like people like it's funny because like then there's like the false equivalency of like their religious views versus you being bi or gay,
Mhm.
and it's like they feel that that's equal. Like you should respect my religious views because I'll respect your choice. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't agree with that being equal. Just don't need that shit. I'm more just like, yeah, I don't have a problem with your religious views. I just have a problem with you being a cunt.
That's it. That is it. I had this whole bit written out. I've only ran it a few times about. See, when I was growing up, SpongeBob made you gay, and I had friends who we could not watch SpongeBob at their house because you'd end up, sucking dick. And I remember as a little kid, I wrote it as an adult, but I remember as a little kid, like we could only watch VeggieTales, and I fucking hated VeggieTales. Like I couldn't go into my buddy's house because I was like, I'm not watching this cucumber and this fucking tomato.
Which cucumbers? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gay already.
It's gay as hell.
SpongeBob's not near as gay, and I had this whole bit written out about, SpongeBob turning you gay, and I feel like we all had that one friend.
Yeah.
Whether it was SpongeBob or you can't watch Simpsons or whatever.
yeah,
And
Family Guy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I grew up on all of it,
Yeah.
I watched Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park. I grew up watching it. And but I had this whole bit written out that you should let your kids watch these goofy shows, because it's not going to make them gay. It has nothing to do with it. And I had this deal written out about a friend that I haven't seen, in years, but it was his house we would go to, about how we'd have to watch VeggieTales. And long story short, I think you should just let your kids watch whatever you want, whatever they want. As long, there's a line, but
yeah.
they should be able to watch whatever they want. It's not the cartoons that would do it. I was like, look at me. I grew up watching SpongeBob and all this shit, and I turned out pretty good. I got a successful job. I got a good family. And then there's my buddy who grew up watching VeggieTales, and he has 3 counts of child molestation or something.
Oh my god!
And I was like,
oh shit! I didn't see that one coming.
So let your kids watch these shows.
Neither do those kids.
Yeah, exactly. I said, so let your kids watch these
was-
goofy shows because it's a hell of a lot better than them turning Catholic.
I'm
And,
ashamed of that joke I just made. Holy shit!
and the first time I told it ever, of course, there's this flock of women at this open mic, and it turns out they're Catholic. And so I had this lady, come up after the shows like, you're so fucking offensive and this and that. I only have, in my opinion, one true offensive joke, and I've only done it twice. It's a trans joke. It's not against trans people at all.
Yeah.
I told it fucking with my wife is how it started. I was at an open mic. We're all running new jokes, and there's this old lady there, older lady who you could tell went entirely too hard in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like fucking too hard. And I mean, she's saying like you can't say that on jokes that aren't at all like, man, he's tiptoeing the line.
Yeah.
And she did it every comment
Oh
came up.
Jesus!
You can't say that. You can't say that. And a few of them said retarded. And I mean, this lady's having a fucking meltdown, and it's not fun for anybody at this point. So I go up, I run some new jokes that are relatively clean, and she I don't remember what the joke was. It's something dumb I had written down, and she goes, "You can't say that." And I was like, "I tell you what, you've been running your fucking mouth all night." I was like, "I got a joke just for you. I heard it today, and it's true. I just heard it that day on TikTok." I said, never mind, I'm not going to tell it. And she goes, no, I can handle it. And I was like, well, apparently not. Like, you've been upset the whole night. She's like, no, tell it. I totally. And I said, all right, well, I don't respect trans women. And it's just like dead quiet in this bar. And I said, not because they're trans, just because I don't fucking respect women. And this lady, dude, I mean, had a fucking aneurysm. And she's snatching her shit, and she like literally runs out of the bar. And I was like, okay, well, that was fun. You know, it's not my joke by no means. And I did the canes, and I had a little bit of time left. And I was like, you know what? And I already said before the show, I was like, there's definitely some people here I'm going to offend. You know, I think there was 309 people there at the tiny little Canes stage, and I was like, you know, I'm going to close on this. And I even warned them, you know, before I did it. I was like, this joke hasn't done too good lately, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it anyway. And I told him the whole deal, you know, this lady at the bar and all that, and I'm maybe like, I don't respect, and about that point, I see like the front row, there's 3 trans women here. I was like, man.
Oh.
But at the same time, I had just listened to Dave Chappelle talk about, if I can't tell these jokes in front of them, I shouldn't be saying them. And I was like, you know
Agreed.
what? Fuck it. I'm going to say it. And the few women I had offended, because it's more, like my wife said, it's more of an attack on women than it is trans, you know? And I said it just fucking with my wife.
Yeah.
And the women I had upset, which was crazy, was like exactly what Dave Chappelle described in his show. The trans women thought it was hilarious, but there's 2 or 3 women in the crowd that I've crossed the fucking line with.
Yeah.
And, you know, they come up to me and tell me, like, you know, you're the most offensive motherfucker I've ever met. And I'm like, it was a joke.
Yeah. I would just want to shake their hand, and be like, thank you.
Go talk to those 3 that enjoyed the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'm sorry you're so triggered, you know, and I love it though. I don't, like I said, I'm not necessarily offensive. My mother-in-law quit talking to me over a joke about jacking off and how hard it is to do it when your kids are outside the bathroom saying shit like, Dad, I can see your feet. And she took it as I was jacking off in front of my kids.
Oh,
and,
God.
Dude, I mean, like, called my wife crying, like, upset about it. And
we punch up stories. Like, we punch up jokes. Like, it's like...
But you know how many times I have been like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm in the bathroom and I'm getting ready. And then I'm just like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, will you please go away for like 5 fucking seconds? Like, just please go away. I don't need much time. I'll be right back out. And they ruined
and I'll probably be a lot happier and relaxed.
I guarantee it. I'll probably sleep great right after this. So
time for Dad's nap.
Yeah. I can't sleep without it, kids. Get the hell out of here. And I don't know. She like I said, she called my wife crying. And I told her when I first got into comedy, she's like, oh my God, I want to come. And I was like, I can make you come. No, I made that up. She was like, I want to come to one of your shows.
Well, hopefully by now, I mean, she's your wife.
Yeah. No, it was my wife's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, my
sorry.
wife
then hopefully not.
Yeah.
This is turning into a Pornhub video real quick.
My wife.
What are you doing, stepmom?
Yeah. My wife just watched. It was nothing weird.
Oh, she filmed.
Yeah. But she was like, I want to come to one of your comedy shows. It's like, and I told her, I was like, I wouldn't do it. I don't think you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
You know. And she was like, oh, if you really don't think I will, then I won't come. But then this lady just searches YouTube and TikTok and my Instagram, and then watches all my comedy clips and then is offended, you know? And I was like, I told you not to come.
Yeah.
I told you not to. And she's like, I didn't, but I watched it. And she's crying. And she's like, calling my wife a bad mom.
Oh, Jesus.
And because she allows this shit and she can't believe she'd support me. And I was like, you know, and she was like, I'll forgive him if he quits telling that joke. And I was like, this is one of my bangers. Like, I will fucking bury you.
I don't need your forgiveness for that shit. Fuck you.
Yeah. And like, same thing with my wife's family. So she has the cool side and then the not so cool side. My brother-in-law, they're good people.
Yeah.
They're just the perfect Christian. So I didn't fit in right off the bat because when we met, you know, I have tattoos and I had my nose pierced, and we just didn't click because, you know, my body's a temple.
Yeah.
And then there's the other half of my wife's family who's awesome. Granted, they're all alcoholics, but they're fun. They're super fun people, and I'd rather go hang out with them. And you know, they're all like, "Oh, we want to come see you." I'm like, "No, you don't. No, you don't." But her other half's like, we want to come see you. I'm like,
Yeah.
you should come. It's gonna be a really good time.
I know. Like, there's some jokes that, like, I'm not prepared for my parents to see yet. This episode of Unloading Me is not brought to you by your favorite food delivery service such as DoorDash or Uber Eats, but it could be. You can obviously tell from this frame I use those services quite a bit. So help me out and help the channel out. Reach out to those companies and tell them to sponsor this fat ass. Now, back to the show. But
It's so funny you say that because the joke about my mom dying, I literally, there's no like quirky opening to it. I was like, you know, my mom died recently, and then I just feel the energy leave.
Yeah.
And then when I say the dumb shit that I do
Yeah.
say, the crowd just fucking flocks right back to it. But it's a drug, though.
it's a drug, though.
It is. Like, even that night I bombed, I was just like, I know there's more to this. Like,
Yeah.
I want more. And I've heard a million people talk about it, but that laugh is a drug.
Yeah.
Like, you start just craving that laugh.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how shitty your job is,
Yeah.
you can't wait to go hit that mic so you can get that it turns into a drug.
And then honestly, man, like, I embraced the, like, if you go to like Tulsa Comedy Club and you have like the spotlight and you can't see shit.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'd rather not see anybody.
Yeah.
Because I mean, except for when I'm like crowd working, trying to like roast some people.
Right.
But like, what I was getting at is, you know, I've only done it maybe 7 times professionally right now, as far as like what I would consider this year.
Right.
Besides just some other things I don't want to get into and shit. But I think I've come to this point where I'm getting kind of tired of like, everybody has advice.
Mhm.
I'm grateful. I want to take it all in. I'm still learning. I'm trying to weed out the bad advice of like, don't do this because this. And then like the first time I had it was like, we don't do any rape jokes. Rape's not funny. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't when it happened to me either. And I'm like, it happened to me. Like,
Yeah.
I think I could talk about my own personal rape. Like, it's like,
Okay. Well,
and
then
like, I find
I'm
the humor in
worst
it.
for you then.
Say what?
I'm the worst for you then.
Okay.
'Cause, like I said, I don't think anything's off limits. There's
There's
if
intent and context.
exactly, you know,
It needs to be well crafted. And if you're going to do dangerous territory, you should be knowing that you're going to be in dangerous territory and do it well.
exactly right. Like I said, I don't think there's anything you can't joke about. Like, I have this whole sexual assault joke about, and I was sexually assaulted as a kid.
Yeah.
It was not by my dad. But I have this whole bit written out about my dad.
Yeah.
And fuck you for telling me I can't tell it. You
Yeah.
know, like, it might not have been him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's the point of it, though.
And then like, it's like, there's been times where like people are like, don't crowd work or roast people in the crowd. Like even comedians, like, don't like do that. And I'm like, we're in a comedy club. Like
Right.
the crowd's there. Like that's part of going to a stand-up comedy show.
Yep.
Like,
I don't call the crowd out very often.
yeah.
If you're obnoxious, you know, I will. And even if you're new to stand up or you've been in it or you're killing it or you're just trying to figure out your way, a person on stage with a mic is one of the worst persons to talk shit to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They're obviously confident enough to be up there in front of everybody.
Well, like even when I talked about the thing off air with like that one individual,
Mhm.
where I roasted him with one joke and then he did back at me.
Mhm.
I was perfectly cool with it. That's honestly how I
100%.
feel it should be.
Yeah.
Like it's fun. Like we're there to provide an entertainment service to the people that are there, and it should just be a fun atmosphere, especially at an open mic. I feel it should be trying out shit,
Yeah.
bullshitting. Everybody is low series, low stakes. Just have fun.
Yeah.
That's honestly how I feel it should be at an open mic.
Yeah, you know how many times Zach Amons used me and my name in a joke
Yeah.
that I was not expecting at all? Why would I get pissed off? about
Yeah,
it?
it's like- I have so many jokes about the cellar and everybody doing cocaine in the fucking bathroom.
yeah,
Like everybody knows they're all fucking cokeheads.
yeah,
Like, and like some of the biggest laughs I've gotten where I said like, oh, all the fucking Eric Clapton fans are coming out of the fucking bathroom.
yeah.
I think you heard that. Yeah, I heard that
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. Like that's my closer now, the Eric Clapton shit. That
Yeah.
came from like all the people doing coke in the cellar. Like
Yeah. But it's crazy to me, you know.
it's like
I opened every time I've done Tulsa Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Every time, whether it's opening, headlining, featuring, I've had one person, and it's coincidentally a blonde lady, front row, who fucking hates my guts.
Yeah.
Every time. And I don't call the crowds out and stuff almost ever, but
yeah.
I did a show there, and then I did Vincent O'Shaughnessy, and then I did John Reap, and finally I was like, this lady blonde lady, front row, and I'm telling these jokes. Everybody's having a good time. Granted, I'm way dirtier than John Reap.
Yeah.
He killed it. He's fun. He was insanely fun to be around. But I knew going in when I agreed to go do it, I was way dirtier than John Reap.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, you know what? This crowd's here to see somewhat clean comedy. I'm not that guy, so I might as well just fucking hammer it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And every time, like I said, shows, opening, featuring, headlining, same club, same fucking chair. There's always a blonde lady who hates my guts. Her husband thinks I'm the funniest thing that's ever happened. Ever.
It's like the Will and Jada thing all over again.
100%. But like at John Reap.
Did you make an alopecia joke?
Yeah. Finally at John with opening for John Reap, I
thought alopecia was the other name for llama.
I start telling my jokes to this lady, like to the point where, nobody else could be there. I'm looking at this lady, and I'm just like, finally I went, "You don't think I'm very funny, do you?" And she went, "No." I was like, "Well, fuck you. Everybody else having a good time, And then last time I headlined that show, in my head, I think about these people all the time. And I was like, you know what? Today's going to be different. This show's going to be awesome. Get up on stage after Matt Farrell. He killed it. I had Case on that show. He did great. Boyd hosted it. I get up there, and first thing I look at is this chair, and it's like, man, there's a fucking blonde lady in this chair again.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe she'll be different. Fuck no. Her husband absolutely thought it was hysterical.
Yeah.
But she's refusing to have fun.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know she's at a comedy club, and I found out after that she was going to come up and address me after the show.
Oh shit.
I did have one lady come up to me who was pissed off because I said my daughter's autistically honest. And so she came out, she was like, "Your daughter's autistic?" I went, "No." She's like, "Oh, you said she was?" I was like, "No, I didn't." She said, "Yeah, you did." I said, "No, I said she's autistically honest. She's not autistic." She's like, "Why would you even make that fucking joke then?" I was like, "It was just a dumb joke. Chill out. Maybe she is. I don't know. I haven't had her tested, And she stormed off. I was like, that was fucking dumb. And
like, I'm sorry, haul me off to the autism police.
yeah,
Like, it's like the Scott Pilgrim versus the World when they had the vegan police.
Yeah.
I always think that anytime there's false outrage, I think, oh shit, get me off in cuffs.
yeah.
Like, shout out vegan police. There's like Thomas Jane and the other guy. I don't know. Oh, I love that movie.
I got pissed.
Okay, go ahead.
And
Guys, we'll be right back. And we're back, guys. We're back. Had to do a little bit of a potty break.
Yeah, I have a small bladder.
The bladder of an infant.
Yeah, I've always been picked on for it, so thank you.
You're welcome. You're quite welcome for calling it out on a national broadcast.
Yeah.
Or whoever the fuck's watching this.
I'm not shy. I'm not shy about anything.
Just a shy bladder.
Yeah. No, it'll piss in front of anybody.
Oh, okay.
That's
Small
to be
bladder.
the problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not shy by no means. Except after sex. I can't piss hard to save my life. I
Really?
can't. Oh, I end up blowing a blood vessel in my eyes. I push so hard to piss after sex.
Do you blow a blood vessel in your eye like when you throw up and stuff? Or
No.
anything like that? I do. Like
Do you?
I violently throw up and stuff. Like I'm used to like a blood vessel popping in my eye or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just happens.
I'm just in the bathroom like.
So like that night at the
Yeah.
cellar when I had that panic attack, yeah, it wasn't fun. It's very violent.
Oh, I've never had a panic attack ever. I've witnessed it, and I know it hits everyone kind of different.
Yeah.
I just thought one of my ex-girlfriends was being, extra.
It's
and
dramatic.
Yeah, I really did.
You
I was-
bitch.
Yeah, I was like, settle down. It's one hit. Like, settle down, And no, she was having. I've never witnessed it. Just
Yeah.
like a seizure.
Yeah.
I never witnessed one. I saw one in person at a concert, and that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like that person has to. Granted, he had epilepsy. So what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
And he
Shame on you.
yeah. I mean, it was a band called Winds of Plague, and it's a metal band, and I mean they stopped the concert over this
Oh,
kid just
Jesus
having a
Christ.
full-fledged seizure, and I'm sitting there watching. He's like drooling and foaming and shit, and I was just like, "What's wrong with him? He has epilepsy. Does he not know where he's at?
Yeah.
Like like you wouldn't go to a rave
Yeah.
if you had it."
Yeah.
And Yeah, he full-fledged seizure. I was
When I was in college, we had a roommate's friend had a seizure, and we had to like take him to the ER, and like we were like having to keep him on his back, like not like let him bite his tongue and shit like that, and like we were
Yeah.
like, get him to the ER. And shit. Yeah, it was pretty scary. Like it's rough.
it's crazy to watch
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
My dog had a seizure not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah, I got this new German Shepherd puppy, and he's such a fuck. He's the reason I hate dogs. Like legitimate. He means well. He's just. I thought German, being around Adolf, they were all smart, and this one's dumb. I think he's post-war.
Is he
And
American German Shepherd or German Shepherd?
He has to be.
Because like I found that out. My parents had a whole bunch of German Shepherds growing up, and like I found out that there's two different types. There's
There
like,
is.
Yeah, American German, and then there's German basically. That's
Right.
long hair.
Yeah, I wanted the one that hates everyone, and I got this one. I got this one that loves everybody, and it was the middle of the night. We have this dog named Ralphie. He's a fucking mutt, and out of nowhere, my German Shepherd puppy woke me up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, fuck off, I'm like hitting it. I'm like, get out of here, and finally, like he woke me up again. I was like, what is your deal? And at this point we only had this dog like a week, and he runs to the edge of the bed and he looks back at me. I can just barely see him. I was like, what the fuck do you want? And I go to lay back down and he gets me again. I was like, all right, something's wrong. So I get up. I go in the living room. My other dog's having a full-fledged seizure.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
So I start just punching it and stuff. And I still don't know what was happening. The vet was like, it's anxiety. But it was crazy. This little puppy that don't know shit came and got me. He was like, we got a problem,
Yeah.
So I went and like calmed him down, like petting him.
But you're
and
welcome if you need to or you want to.
Okay. But I like calm him down and like petting him, and he's like full-fledged, like locked, just like having it.
Yeah.
And I got it worked out. I was like, cool, I'm going back to bed. And then it happened like 3 more times. And finally I told my wife, I was like, we're going to put this thing down.
Oh.
And she was like, no, we're going to take it to the vet. I was like, yeah, to put it down. Like something's wrong with this dog.
Yeah.
And we got there and we've had this dog since me and my wife started dating. Like she had him before we started dating. And she's like, I'm not putting him down. I'll spend whatever. I was like, fuck, you will. Like $200 max or we're putting it down.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be. And they're like, no, he has really bad anxiety. I was like, he's 10. Like up till this point, he's been just living life. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden he has anxiety. And then it turns out it's my fault. They're like, did you bring a new dog into the house? I was like, oh, I did. I found this German Shepherd.
Dog whisperer gets.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay. Which, if you watch both of them, you're like, this German Shepherd wants this one dead. Like, it's...
He's got a plot.
Yeah, he's a different color. The German Shepherd hates this one. And...
Well, at least it hates something.
yeah.
You got
yeah.
something out of your
It
money.
loves every person. It smells no bad in anybody. But this dog...
Just racist because this is one dog type.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, this thing is not purebred. I can smell it.
I understand, man. Like, I had 2 dogs that like lately. Like, I haven't had a dog in a little bit. I had a Basset Hound that I grew up with that
Fuck, I had one too.
had him for like over 10-something years, and then he died a couple years ago, and I had to put him. He died, but he was getting very ill.
From what?
Just
No, I'm
old,
just playing.
old age, and like it was getting to the point where like he wasn't knowing where he was going. Like I think he
Yeah.
had like dementia and stuff like that, and like he just didn't wake up one day.
Mhm.
Then I had my
That's how
first
I
one.
wanna go. I just want to
Yeah.
go to bed like
Just natural
kind of
kinda-
and just that's it.
My second dog was a golden lab, and it's honestly the best dog I ever had. And
I've heard that from a lot of people.
he was a $50 dog I got from Caney, just like some farmer had, a litter of labs. And I got it from my first wife for like Valentine's Day or something like that. And then when we got divorced, she took the dog. And I didn't see that dog for like 10 years.
Mhm.
And then she was just going to give it away on Facebook and didn't even think to like ask me or like
Right.
see if I like wanted to take it with it. And like was even telling my daughter that, when we share, that like say your goodbyes to him and stuff like that. He's going to a different family. And then my second wife at the time saw that post and was like, hey, can we have him?
Mhm.
And she's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about it. And we took him. Come to find out, he had cancer and his legs were starting to go out. And like basically she was trying to get rid of him before she'd have to put him down.
Right.
And I didn't know that. She didn't even tell me that. And then like a month into like getting him, he's starting to be like not be able to hold his bladder, and like eventually I had to like hold his back, like walk him like a wheelbarrow to get him to go pee. And like a month into that, we had to like put him down. So like I got to basically like say goodbye to the dog.
Right. Yeah.
And I like at least I was there to take care of him. Like, we took him down to the vet and had him put down and stuff, and like he had at least a respectable way
Right.
of going out. But it was like kind of a shitty situation on that. So yeah, fuck that lady.
I had a Basset Hound. I've never owned a dumber dog in my life.
Really?
Yeah. I got it from, it was full bred. I paid too much money for
Mine
it.
was a mutt. Mine was a Basset Hound Bird Dog mix.
Oh,
So
mine
it was like Dalmatian colored Basset Hound.
Mine was a true blue. Looked just like Fred from Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh,
Beautiful dog. And I mean, I fucking hated this dog. I paid entirely too much money for it. Me and my wife, we were just dating at the time. I was
Yeah.
like, by the way, I got this 2-week-old puppy we
Yeah.
have to fuck with now. And I named it Lunch Pail. And
that's a cool name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had Lunchbox when I was a kid growing up. We named my dog Lunchbox because Jay and Silent Bob. How that one word stuck with us, I don't know.
Lunchbox is what he calls Kevin, Silent Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, when they go to leave that research facility,
Yeah.
he's like, "What the fuck you doing, Lunchbox? There
Yeah.
ain't no food in here." And I called that dog Lunchbox when I was a kid, and
I'm
it
glad
stuck.
you like. Yeah.
Yeah, and it nailed. And so I told, like, after Lunchbox had passed, she was such a killer dog, perfect dog. And so my wife was like, "If I ever get a dog again, I'm gonna name it Lunch Pail." And I got this Basset Hound, and just was worthless as a dog. Like watching those. What are those animal rights commercials?
Like PETA and stuff like that, or
Yeah, but the ASPCA.
oh, like the Sarah McLachlan, like
yeah, like
in the arms, of
yeah.
the sad, depressing ones. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, well, you've never owned this dog.
Yeah.
Like, I get people beating the shit out of dogs. And
Oh my god. Okay, that might have to be clipped. I don't know if that will be on YouTube for that.
you said yeah, so you get it too.
That's why it'll be clipped.
I was like, I love beating dogs. You're like, yeah, me too, man.
No, it's just like so. Like, I naturally like I've told my kids this. Like, if we ever get another dog, it has to be a big dog. I can't do small dogs.
Right, yeah.
Mostly because I have this inclination. If anything's around my ankles, I just naturally kick.
Right.
And I'm just terrified that like a chihuahua comes around or anything like that. I've done it to my parents' dog accidentally. And, like, I just feel something jump on my leg, like, and I kick it. And it goes flying across the room. I'm like, oh shit, I killed your dog.
I wouldn't
Like,
want to own a small dog anyway.
yeah, and my parents' dogs like gets anxiety and pisses every time he sees a new person.
Yeah,
And
fuck
it's like,
all that.
ugh. I joined the Oklahoma pit bull rescue thing.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm gonna try to look for a rescue pit and do that donation process of it. 'Cause, like, I've always wanted like a female pit.
Yeah.
And I just think they're cool dogs and like they're really sweet. I've met people that have
Oh,
really
for
sweet.
sure,
You know,
yeah.
they kind of get the bad rap a lot of times.
Yeah, so do Rottweilers. but
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like it's kind of funny because like my parents are like, you're gonna have a pit around the girls. My parents are on their second Doberman Pinscher. That right now I have to lock up in their shop because they're getting their kitchen renovated, and this dude will tear down the baby gate and attack this dude if he sees a stranger. Like, that's how aggressive he is. And
Yep.
they're like, you want to have a pit bull around the kids? And I'm like,
Yeah, it might not be big.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree.
I'm like, not
I
a
did help
ferocious
us.
one. I'm on a female that's like a nice, sweet dog that's
Uh-huh.
not been like used in fucking fights.
yeah. We did helpless hounds. We got tied into that because as dumb as my Basset Hound was, you couldn't help but love this goofy
Yeah.
thing. And I mean, it was so dumb it chewed the window seals
Oh,
off of our windows in our living room, like just dumb.
Yeah.
And an escape artist, you wouldn't even guess it. Dumber than shit, slow, just fast enough to run from you. And I had a neighbor lady up the street, came over to my house crying, like hysterically. And she's like, your Basset Hound killed my cat.
Oh,
I said, I don't think we're talking about the same dog. Like, this one's too dumb. It
Yeah.
doesn't. She's like, no, it treed it. And when the cat came down, she slaughtered it. I was like, have you met this dog? Like, it's in one first gear the whole time.
Yeah.
It never, there's no third gear. It's not chasing shit down.
yeah.
If that cat was in a wheelchair, this dog wouldn't catch it. And, but I loved it at the same time. As bad as I hated it, I loved it
Yeah.
just as much. And then we got involved with Helpless Hounds, and I got a full bred bloodhound for
Nice.
I think it was like $125. And as dumb as Lunch Pail was, this dog was 10 times dumber. I hated this dog. And I don't hate dogs. You know,
Yeah.
I've had dogs my whole life, but I hated this dog. Destroyed everything in the house. And it wasn't one of those like, oh, she don't know no better.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
She 100% knew that she was a problem.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be a good day or a bad day. When I walked in the house, she would either tuck and get it the hell away from me or come up to me. And I hated this dog. And it sounds like we killed it, but we didn't.
Spoiler alert.
She lives on a big farm and
Is that what you tell everybody?
runs wild in the trees. No, she really did. This lady that owned a farm, they were foster parents for this bloodhound, and they fell in love with this bloodhound. Someone adopted it. Their heart's missing a hole. I happened to see this post, and I said, I got the perfect dumb fucking dog for you.
Yeah.
And they came and got her. We got her. She was 7 months old. She weighed 98 pounds. Big fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And man, I tried to love that dog. I tried so hard.
Sometimes they just don't fit.
It didn't fit.
You gotta
with
find
us.
a family that's good for that dog.
It was like what's good and bad because
Yeah.
my kids would ride her like a horse, and she loved it.
Yeah.
She was sweet to my kids. She never snapped at any of us, but within like let's say 3 months, I'm not even exaggerating. I probably spent $5,000 on the stuff this dog just destroyed.
See, that's my biggest fear. Is like I want to make sure I have gates and stuff like that if I get a new dog and like
For sure.
like this. And that's why I kind of want to like have like a rescue older dog, just someone that's like kind of got out of that puppy chewing phase and just wants
Yeah.
to chill over there and just like be the house dog.
Yeah.
That's what I just want. I want a more relaxed dog.
Yeah, my German Shepherd's just rolling into that chewing phase. And she chewed up my first edition Mein Kampf, and
Oh fuck! That was such a struggle.
it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's my Bible, you know. And no, I don't. I read it one time.
I don't know if you heard that.
Wrong.
I read it one time. It just didn't. There's like a whole chapter.
And now
about
you're
syphilis.
on a few watch lists on whenever you Google stuff. It happens naturally.
It wouldn't shock me. It would the shit I think of.
Dude, my Google Home's gonna go all crazy with all the shit we've been talking about.
Oh, for sure.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
I would look good in a swastika shirt. You're just going
red
through,
is such a
sip-
color.
yeah.
They're gonna get the wrong idea on my logo and shit. Like it's like that's a weird uniform.
Yeah.
Zig Nile. No.
Yeah.
No, I just want to tour the Nile. That's what I said.
Yeah. I went to Germany.
Really?
I did. Yeah, I did. Me and my wife's honeymoon, we flew into Frankfurt, and then we spent 12 days. It's crazy. You spend 12 days, you go around the whole country. And
The closest I ever got was watching my dad get drunk at Epcot and try to go to the tour around the different countries and get drunk in Germany.
yeah.
That was the closest I ever got to Germany.
Oh, we did it. I mean, it was man, it's beautiful. I see why they think they're number one, and it was gorgeous. But we're tearing statues down of like Robert E. Lee and
Yeah.
stuff. But man, you go to Germany and there's a few towns that I'm like, are you guys aware like the war's over? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like Nuremberg. As soon as we came into Nuremberg, there's the SS Memorial that they had built, back during, the 1930s.
Yeah.
But there's this big eagle statue right outside of it. That's what caught my eye. I was like, oh shit, because that's what I was there for,
Yeah.
And I pull up, and the statue was built years after the war. I'm like, hold on, do you guys condemn it, or do you
Yeah.
still kind of, you're still kind of for it? And oh, they fucking hated me and my wife. I don't know if it was the American thing. We got pulled over in Austria. I didn't know when I rented this car I had to have a fucking Pike Pass. I didn't know
Oh.
that. And we left Germany going into Austria. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I can't read these fucking signs,
Yeah.
And it was like gibberish, like shit my kids would write. And this guy was like holding a ping pong paddle at me. It was red. I was like, okay, fuck him. I drove right by him. So we go stay in Salzburg, Austria that night. We're coming back into Germany so I can go to Eagle's Nest and in the Alps. And I take this exit, and there's a cop with the same ping pong paddle, but like standing in the middle of the road. He's pointing to the side, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll pull over. There's no, auf Wiedersehen or whatever the fuck they would say. And he comes to the window that's not pleasant at all. He just goes, word for word, fucking Americans, huh? I was like, shit, this is not going to go good.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we're Americans. He was like, did you know you're supposed to have whatever pass? I was like, no, obviously I don't fucking live here. And he stepped back to my van with me. So me and my wife stays there. I hop in this van, and it's like just like this. It's
Yeah.
a full desk computer. I'm sitting in a chair just like this. And he's like, are you in the Air Force? I'm like, no. He's like, are you in the military? I'm like, no, I hate America. No, and I was like, no, I was trying to find, a split off of the Third Reich. No, I was like, I'm not in the military at all. And he would type for a minute. He'd go, are you a Marine? like, do I look like a fucking Marine, man? No, I'm not. I'm not in
Yeah.
the military. So there he types for me. He goes, are you in the Army? Like, I am not in the fucking military.
This guy's just not getting the picture.
Yeah, and I'm getting like shitty at this point.
He's like Googling branches of U.S. military.
Yeah, exactly. Coast Guard.
Yeah.
I was like, no. He was like, oh, National Guard. I'm like, no. And we
Paw
literally-
Patrol?
Yeah, we literally go through. Yeah, that German Shepherd's a problem on that show. And,
Fucking Chase.
we literally go through every branch. Like, he would type for a minute and he'd hit me with it. And finally, I started getting shitty. I'm like, I'm not in the fucking military, man. And he goes, and why the fuck would you come to Germany? I was like, I don't know. Me and my wife want to come here. He's like, nobody wants to come here. And I was like, all right, whatever, man.
I'm a big David Hasselhoff fan.
Yeah, I think his music's great, man.
It
Let's
really
not
speaks
forget
to me.
Dirk, you know. And he writes me a ticket. He writes me a ticket. It was like 270 euros, and I had to pay it on the spot. Like, not like I'll catch you later.
Yeah.
And
Because like the chance of you coming back to Germany paying it, like they're probably like, yeah, you're not leaving here.
yeah, well, I got a parking ticket in Berlin our first day there. My wife's like, I don't think we can park here. I'm like, fuck it, you know. And we came back to the car, and she's like, we had a parking ticket. She's like, what are we gonna do? I was like, nothing. We don't fucking
Yeah.
live here. And
That's like, dude. There's
I
so
do it
many.
in downtown Tulsa, and I fucking live here.
When I was a DM for like this cell phone company, I worked a lot of times in Houston, and like if you've ever been to Houston, it's nonstop pike passes. Like
Oh, yeah.
there's just nonstop interstates and tolls.
Mhm.
And I would always get a rental car where they fly me down there, and I'm just like, I ain't paying this shit.
Yeah.
I just went through every fucking single one of
Yeah.
those, flocked them. Like it's gonna go to the fucking thing my company's going through it. I never
Uh-huh.
heard a fucking dime.
Yeah.
Even now, I have this fucking rental for my wreck, and I was like, oh shit, I got all the fucking the tolls in Tulsa ones last week, and I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, ain't my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Germany, I paid it. Luckily, I had just, I'm so fucking dumb. Going to Germany, everything online's like, take cash.
Yeah.
Don't take your card. It's a waste of time. So I took all this cash over there with me. And
Just easy to get fucking taken.
Well, right off the bat, the exchange rate, I lost like $200 right off the bat, and I was like, "Dude, oh, we fucked up." Like, but we're here. You know, like,
Yeah.
There's no option outside this. We're
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
And
You just gotta go with it.
yeah, and like the rental car, I had rented days before we got there, weeks even. And I get there, everything's paid for, insurance, everything. It was like $590 something for the week.
That's honestly not bad.
It's not bad at all.
No.
And I get there, and the lady's like, "You need insurance." I was like, "No, I paid for the insurance." They know you didn't. I was like, "Yeah, I did." And I'm sure we're going through the whole deal, and she's like, "How about give me $400?" I was like, "What? No." She was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, your insurance is $500." I said, "We're paid."
Yeah.
She's like, "Okay. How about 20?" I was like, 20 what? She's like, 20 euros. I was like, I don't give a fuck if it's €1. I'm not giving any more money.
Yeah.
And it was like that.
Everything's a
all-
barter system.
It was like that all through Germany. Everything we did. Like, I could have talked down my dinner prices if I wanted to.
It's a very strange, like, foreign thing to Americans. But like, I witnessed it. Like, so my first wife was Hispanic.
Mhm.
Her mom was from Mexico City, so my first wife was half Mexican.
Right.
But like, they were raised in San Antonio and stuff, and like, I would go down there for visits and vacations, and like the flea markets they would have on weekends, stuff like that, and like just everything's a barter system.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Indian side of San Antonio and stuff like that, everything's a barter system. Every single thing you do, you go to
Yeah.
get a drink, even if it's $2. How about $2.75? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
part of the culture.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing you got to get used to.
Yeah. Germany was not much better. We bought shit that, it says like, I say 25 euros, and we ended up paying 15 for it. And just because my wife, she don't give a shit. She'll just like, if she was at Walmart right now and they're like, that's $9.99 or $9.98, she'd be like, no.
You know what I think
$9.
it might be? I think we have, as in a society and like this nation, we kind of have this idea that false advertisement is a thing. That like,
Yeah.
if you get it, there's gonna be some kind of consequence, and
Mhm.
like, also we think that like, if that's the price, that's the price. That's just what it's advertised as.
Mm-hmm.
And we judge everything based on that value too. Like, so if Coke is $2.95, Pepsi should be $2.96 or $2.94. You know, like
Right.
everything is judged by all those values,
Right.
and we just care about those dollar amounts. And I think that we just kind of feel like they're solid,
Yeah.
because we go by the dollar.
Yeah. I mean, Germany was expensive, but not near as bad as here. We were staying in 5-star hotels for a quarter of the price I would pay here.
Well, what I was thinking was, I think what I was getting at was like, I think we're so in a day and age where of like litigation if you false advertise a lot of shit.
Right.
Like people are suing people left and right just for the smallest things.
And for the shit of it,
Yeah. That like it's so litigious in this country that we just kind of just take everything at that face value sometimes, and we don't have a culture of bartering or anything like that because I don't know. Just I feel like that kind of weighs in a lot of shit we do too.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Whereas
love
like
the
it's not
barter
very
system.
litigious everywhere else. Like other countries don't sue each other left and right over the little shit.
No. We ate at it was a ski resort in the Alps.
There's a reason I say allegedly on all these stories.
We ate at a ski resort, and it was not ski season.
Yeah.
We pull up to it, and I was like, "This is a 5-star. Like, it looks like a little log cabin in the
Yeah.
middle of the fucking mountains." She's like, "I swear, it says 5-star." So we go in. Our waitress was, I mean, up to that point, I had been so horny through Germany because the girls are just naturally beautiful, and they still dress, like 10 years prior to now, like where they still have like,
Self-esteem.
yeah, exactly. Where they're not worried about their OnlyFans and shit. And it was this waitress walks up. If she had said, "My name's Olga," I'd have been like, "Perfect."
Oh, yeah.
You fucking nailed it. Because
Yeah.
she's like lumberjack stature, big broad shoulders, wearing like I don't even know what the women's leader hosen is called. But she's wearing that. She reeks of fucking vodka. I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Even if this is a 5-star restaurant, it's like as nice as it gets at
Yeah.
a ski resort. And I was like, this is perfect. This is
Yeah.
exactly what I wanted. And she didn't speak a lick of English, which is a real motherfucker. Because I was like, she gave me some beer. All she understood was blonde. And so she brings me a beer. And I was like, hey, I really like the lemon in my beer. Bring me more lemon next time.
Yeah.
So she literally, my next beer comes out. And there's half a lemon stuck in my fucking glass. To where, like, if I did this, it would just trickle out. And she had no clue what I was talking about. And I told her, I was like, I know you don't speak English, but what would you order? And she's like, clap. I was like, I don't want the clap from eating here,
Yeah.
so let's pick something
I didn't know that
up.
was on the menu.
Yeah.
Is that a chef's specialty?
I tell you what blows me away about when we went to Germany, and this is,
Not the waitress.
I would have fucked her, just for the story. What blew me away, and I don't ever notice shit like this ever.
Yeah.
But we spent 12 days in Germany, and out of those 12 days, I saw one black person. And we went across the country. I mean, from Frankfurt to Berlin, from Berlin to Dresden, Dresden to Nuremberg. We went into the Czech Republic. We came back into Germany, all the way down to Salzburg, Austria, like everywhere. And I was like, man, like, I don't know what they did in the 40s.
Yeah.
But it worked. Like, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And then, when we would go see, because I've always wanted to go to Germany anyway. Yeah. It's beautiful. When I did the ancestry bullshit, traced it back to Germany. My grandpa always told me that when he fought in World War II, that we were fighting our cousins. And then if you dig into the Barbies, it's not good. But I always wanted to go, to the fatherland. And we went, and God damn it, they hate us. They hate Americans so bad. I would go back tomorrow, though, because it was like the one place I've been in the world where I could just be shitty to people.
Yeah.
And they just like high five you. Like, just like, thank you for being a piece of shit of a human. And it's like, good. I enjoy this place.
Yeah.
Like, they're just rude, and they just fuck with you because we don't speak German. And I tried to learn it. All I could gather was Das Frühstück ist lecker, which means this breakfast is good. That's all. I mean, it would be dinner time. I'm just like, Das Frühstück ist lecker.
Dude, you're talking to the guy that, like, when I took Spanish, the first thing I did was learn como se dice, how do you say, because that was on the wall. And then my Spanish teacher taught me that, because then he was like, day one, you're not going to speak any English in here. So I learned that phrase. Then I was just like, como se dice, I need to go to the bathroom. Como se dice, I need to get a drink.
Yeah.
And I just did that, and he's just like, motherfucker.
I made it one fucking rule.
But it worked.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I was such an arrogant.
Fuck that guy. He took off because he burned down his own Mexican restaurant and tried to get the tax money or the insurance money.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah. Don't look too deep into it.
Yeah. He never forgave me because one time okay, it was Spanish class. I'm not trying to be racist. he did bring a piñata and had an event every year where you would have the class go outside of the football fields and do a piñata swing blind, you know, the piñata thing.
I'm just saying, when you start a sentence off with, I'm not trying to be
yeah,
racist.
yeah, usually. It goes with the territory of living in Oklahoma.
That's fair.
But anyway,
most of Oklahomans don't say, I'm not trying to be racist.
me and him never got along. So like, I was like a teacher's aide one time, and like I knew that he had that whole event where like, he would do the thing where like he's controlling the string. So like as they're blindfolded trying to swing, he's pulling the thing up and making
Right.
them miss and fucking with them. So I knew he was doing that because he did it to my class first hour. So like 7th hour, I'm an aide. I'm walking around. I see him doing it to another class. So I sneak up behind him and I just push him into the middle. I go, swing down! And she goes, boom, and he catches it in midair. I've never seen rage in this little El Salvadorian dude more than that dude. He caught this thing. It was like, you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Man, I tried.
Or
but
you've seen
I
like
grew
Giancarlo Esposito, the main guy was a Gus.
Yeah.
That kind of actor where like, you know, like whenever he does that, like, I'm gonna kill you face, like in some of his roles, it's like, oh shit. I saw that look and he had that bat and I had to take off running. That dude was coming after me and I was like, oh, I've crossed the line here, I think.
My
Fuck that dude.
growing up, my dad did meth. So no, I tried to watch Breaking Bad, but I was like,
You already got the spoilers.
I lived it,
Yeah.
you know. I'm sure their garage blows up at some point, you know. And,
Yeah.
it
You
was.
got Breaking Broken Arrow.
I did, yeah. I did try to get into it.
Meth or Breaking Bad?
Meth.
Oh.
I was just like really, I was really tired, and no, I watched it. I watched my dad do it.
Where's Jesse?
I remember I sold my dad out when I was a kid. I didn't know what the fuck meth was.
Yeah.
He was already in deep shit. He had robbed Jake's Fireworks.
Oh my God.
And I mean this as sincerely as I humanly can. He did this when I was 7 years old.
Keep talking.
He robbed Jake's Fireworks. He stole so many fucking fireworks. The bomb squad came to our house. This is on News on 6.
Oh my God.
Bomb squad at the house. The neighbors, being nosy. They're out there trying to figure out what's going on. They thought meth lab. No, it's just fireworks. He stole so many fireworks. I swear on my life. I said I was 7 when he did this.
Yeah.
He stole so many fireworks and hid them in so many places. like he had,
fuck?
like
What the fuck?
like I would assume, at the end of The Town when she just finds that bag of money in the field, like that.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's amazing. Made me want to be a bank robber. But literally like that. Like my grandpa
how I was
had a
with Heat.
stash. Oh, for sure. Al Pacino, Robert. Yeah, Val Kilmer in his prime. Good shit.
Yeah.
But he hid these fireworks at my dad or at my grandpa's house, my cousin Steven's house. He rented many storages.
Oh my God. He stole a lot. Like a lot of fireworks.
Like I said, bomb squad at our house. It's
Oh my
serious. I'm a little, and I'm just a little kid. I'm jumping on the trampoline, just crying for no reason. I should be having a good time, but I'm back there just and I'm at the Tulsa County Sheriff, and I'm just jumping on the trampoline, just crying, and I'm just won't go inside. And but he stole so many fireworks that night. No shit. About 5 years ago, we finally used up all those fireworks from when I was 7 years old. So I was finally like, holy shit, we got to buy these things?
You just get we're finally in the attic and it's just snakes.
Yeah. Snakes and sparklers. Fuck. It's
I mean, at least you
ruined.
make a sparkler bomb. Oh,
Yeah,
did you ever
I've
do that
done-
back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Tape it together. Yeah.
One of my fondest memories was senior year. I had this, everybody has that one redneck friend that's like, oh, I love sparkler bombs, yo. And every July he's buying.
Mine was the kid who you were like, you should not own guns at all.
I feel the same way about this kid. And if he's watching this, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Anyway, he was like, I got this sparkler bomb, and he had it, and it was like this big. It was like
Oh,
a
yeah.
thing of when you see the
Electrical tape.
cartoon, when you see those cartoon dynamite things,
Uh-huh.
those rolls of dynamite, that's what it looked like,
Uh-huh.
like a brick. And we lived out in Copan, on 20 acres out. I grew up in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a pond out there and stuff, and I was like, let's go out there on lunch break, and we'll do it out there. So we drove my dad's Jeep out there, put the sparkler bomb down there, and I rode a 4-wheeler out to the pond, and we set it right by the pond, and we lit it, and it created this gigantic fucking crater.
Yeah.
Just massive fucking crater. Next thing I know, the neighbors, 21-year-old son or something like that who lived in a trailer house on his property across like the properties comes running out of his trailer house in nothing but cowboy boots, whitey tidy underwear, and Oakleys and a shotgun. That's how he was going to defend himself.
Yeah.
Like, just priorities, he got the boots and the
Earl
Oakleys.
Dibbles. He came out. Yeah.
And he just comes running around like this, and we're just like... And we just get on the four-wheel and run away. And, like, that dude was just scared shitless. Like, I'll never get that image of him running out. It was just the funniest fucking thing. Like, just the priorities of, like... Okay, I understand the shoes and the gun. You didn't get dressed, you didn't have time, but the Oakleys are a weird choice. They're a unique choice. I always go back to
Walking
the
out,
Oakleys.
you thought I need to put a hat on. Nope.
Yeah, it always struck me as like, man, that little detail just sold it. And it's just ingrained in my memory.
100%.
And it was like the shitty Oakley. It was like the ones that like the neon yellow green like bar,
Mm-hmm.
and then it had like the purplish kind of like the Macho Man kind of style.
Yeah.
Those old '90s shitty Oakleys.
Long lens.
Yes. Yeah, those classic Oakley ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My dad rocked them hard. Like I said, he
like
was...
Macho Man threw up on him or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad, he was such a dope head. There's no other way to describe it. That's why I never fucked with any of it. All through school, my buddies would, call me pussy because I wouldn't do cocaine and shit
Yeah.
at the time. I still
No
never,
judgment, no judgment.
I've still never done it.
The only thing I've ever done is weed. Like
I'm a mushroom fan.
I'm not against it. I actually just have never been exposed to it. Like I'm a
You should have
recent pot
told
guy.
me, or I'd have brought mushrooms.
It's not one of those things where I know just like, hey stranger, you got mushrooms?
You should have.
Okay.
You definitely should have.
I'll have Stefano put that in the pre-screening.
Yeah, yeah. I would have brought him some. I love it.
So I've always wanted to try them. I actually have made a thing like through my like therapy and my depression and stuff. Eventually I do want to do the ayahuasca shit and like really go through the psychedelic of
for sure.
Try to work with that. John Oliver did I don't know if you ever watched Last Week Tonight.
I know who he is. Yes.
He did a whole piece about LSD and how that treats clinical depression and stuff like that. And like it was a whole 30-minute piece, and it's very well done. I recommend his show.
Oh yeah.
That dude is the master of making like really dark topics very insightful, educational, but also hilariously, comedic.
Mm-hmm.
His shows are amazing. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that intrigues me. But yeah, I didn't start weed until like 4 years ago, maybe. Mm-hmm. About the around time it was legal is when I really dabbled with it because I just never was raised around it or anything like that. I mean, my dad's family was all drinkers. And so, like, my dad drinks. Like, he's not an alcoholic. He just drinks. Like, he drinks, like, he's that guy who's like, hey, I got off work. It's time to open up a beer.
Right,
just,
yeah.
Cool off after the day.
Typical blue collar.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. But, like, he also never did it so excessive because he grew up and, like, his brothers and stuff were very alcoholic and stuff.
Right.
They were the guys that were like, I got paid. Let's buy a 48-pack and it's gone in a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how you dealt with everything.
Yeah.
Because of that, I just never was a big drinker. I still to this day, I'll socially drink with you or I'll have one of those, but like that 12-pack of that Twisted Tea or whatever will last me a month.
Right.
Or maybe
That's
2.
how I am with weed, yeah.
But weed, once it got legalized and I started going through the therapy and stuff, and I started really going into like finding my strains, finding that stuff, and I went through that whole shit. God damn, if it's not the best thing for my anxiety and my panic attack. It allows me to do stand-up. Honestly.
Oh, yeah. I can't smoke and go do it.
Really?
Oh, man.
I can't drink and do it. My downfall is if I have a shot or anything for my nerves, I know now not to do it. I'll forget my set.
See, I'm that way with weed. I drink 3 beers before I go on stage. No
I
more,
can't do
no
alcohol.
less. I go on stage with a beer. I don't typically drink from it.
Yeah.
But if I smoke weed, I'm lucky if I remember my opening joke.
See, I'm one of those guys where like alcohol makes me really like hot and sweaty too. Like it brings it out too.
Yeah.
So like I'm already in a blazer or something like that. So like fat dude sweating his ass off already on stage is gonna be like after one White Claw or something like that. It's just how I am.
Yeah.
So I just don't drink before shows. But like this, like you see me hit it throughout this. It's just I can feel my anxiety building and then it just kind of levels it down. And I just take
give
small
you
hits.
anxiety is what you're saying.
No, just I have it. I just kind of one of those things. And like honestly.
Or Stefano gives you anxiety.
Oh, fuck him.
I thought he was more than courteous.
He never forgave me for making that grinder for him.
Well, it is a sausage fest on there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I was just looking out for our homie.
I get you. It doesn't matter whether you're pitching or catching as long as
Yeah.
you're playing ball.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Yeah. Welcome to the new era.
I mean, I've talked about it here. I'm biased. Like, I've been on Grinder, and like Grinder is, goddamn, ladies, you need to catch up. It's fucking so efficient. If dudes are nothing but efficient.
For sure.
they're just like-
I downloaded it twice. I downloaded it once. My buddy Paul, I was so for sure was gay. And like I said, it had nothing to do with my buddy's gay. Oh fuck! Man, I've always wanted that privilege. Like when someone's like, nobody knows this, but we're pregnant. Like that privilege of like, bro, nobody knows this, but I'm gay.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, oh fucking finally, somebody told me. That'd be so cool. And he was at my house one night.
Just our girlfriend.
And I was sitting over there, and I was like, but I didn't know it going into it, but I was like, I think Grindr's like Tinder. If you're within a certain range,
Yeah.
I can find you. So my buddy's sitting across the living room. I was like, you know what? I'm going to download Grindr right now. And I do, and I make the little profile deal, and I'm sitting there, and I'm scrolling through trying to find Paul, and I just get hammered like with messages, and I'm like, dude, this is so much easier.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I was like, you better step your game up. I don't think you realize how good I am in the gay community.
Yeah, it's like door dashing dick.
100%.
Yeah, I mean,
And there for a little bit.
that's part of my bed. I say, or you say I'm Uber eating. Yeah.
Oh, Uber Eats, fucking game changer. But there for a little bit, I was getting hit on so much at bars by gay guys, and like one guy that like finally I was like, all right, what the fuck is wrong with
Yeah.
me? Like, why do I come across this way? I was at a bar one night with some buddies. Dude, me and this guy were talking. I am a huge hockey fan, and we're talking hockey. We talk sports. I'm not that crazy about the NFL or any of that shit. I don't know what it is about hockey. I just love it. I love hockey. And
Hockey and NASCAR or racing, right?
yeah, not NASCAR. That's boring
Okay.
as fuck.
You like racing.
100
right?
dirt track racing.
Dirt track
True
racing,
redneck shit. But this guy, like, we're bullshitting, we're having a good time. This is like literally the 5th day in a row. Because when I was like, 22, I went out every night. And me and this guy are bullshitting, and then he's like, kind of like rubs my back, and it's nothing like, like makes me feel weird or nothing.
Yeah, it's real gay about rubbing another dude's back.
But it wasn't like, oh baby. It was just like you would a buddy,
Yeah.
And when he did
That's
it,
what I told all my friends too.
yeah, he said, "Do you want to get out of here?" I was like, "And what? Like go to another bar or like what?" And he was like go to my place. I was like,
The dude with no gaydar.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And because like I said, it don't matter to me. And he was like go back to my place. I'm so fucking dumb at this point. I'm just I'm 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, to go watch hockey? Like, I don't need to go to your house.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, like, come to my place. And I was like, oh, I'm not gay. He's like, you're not gay? I was like, but the way he said it to me, I was like, do I come across that gay? He's like, I thought you were gay this whole time. I was like, no, dude. So, like, it bothered me so much that I'd been hit on so much by gay dudes that I went to my mom's house. And I was like, Mom, is there something about me that says gay?
Yeah.
She was like, no, I don't think so. I was like, okay, so like, why are guys trying to constantly pick me up? And she was like, I don't know. And it happen like 3 more times. And I was just like, maybe it's hockey. Maybe hockey's gay. Like that might be what it is. And I was at an open mic one night, and I get to bullshit with this guy, and I have a friend who's been gay ever since I met him.
Yeah.
Super, super good fucking dude. Always has, I guess the not gayest way to say it, always has like the best looking guys with him. Like just pulls good dick. And
Props to him.
yeah. And I was at an open mic one night, and he'll send me gay shit all the time.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like, him getting fucked or nothing, but it's like shit that he knows I'm straight, so he thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
And he sends it to me, and I get to bullshit with this guy at an open mic one night, and he's like, hey, will you give me a ride home? Nothing. I was like, yeah, I'll give you a ride. And he pulls his dick out on the way home.
Jesus.
Swear to God. And I mean, coming from a not gay guy, one of the most impressive dicks I've ever seen in my life. Like, especially in person. I was like, you need to put it away, dude. Like, how do you wear jeans? Like, how do you walk around as a normal human being? And same deal. I called my mom. I was like, okay, this is getting out of hand. Like, this dude pulled his dick out in my truck. And she was like, well, I mean, you did give him a ride. She starts like blaming me. I'm the victim. Like, I'm the victim, and you're blaming me. And there for a little bit, I was like, maybe I love women, but maybe
Yeah.
like, because Henry Cavill, I even wrote a bit about it. is maybe one of the best looking dudes on the face of this planet.
It is a spectrum, man. There's always gonna be that one guy.
Oh,
There's gonna be that one.
I told my wife, honestly, I would fuck the shit out of him for like 5 minutes, maybe tops. Henry Cavill is the best looking dude, in my opinion, on the face of this planet. He was Superman. He was great in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, he was great in The Witcher.
Yeah.
Like, even though the show kind of tailed off and lost me, but he's just amazing.
Well, then like you hear about the Witcher stuff. Like my former roommate, my friend is like a hardcore Witcher fan from like the books and the
Yeah,
game.
the true fan.
Yeah, and like he was like telling me about how like the show was basically like loving that they got rid of him basically because like there's so much conflicts of like him arguing with the show of like this is not how it is in the books.
Yeah, because he's
This
a
is not-
nerd.
he's a nerd.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want this to be true. And they're like, no, this is what we're doing. And he's like, no. Like he would fight with them on the sets. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this needs to be like this.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's like Pedro Pascal
Yeah.
didn't know anything about Last of Us
Yeah.
going into it. He called his nephews. to
Yes,
ask them,
yes.
And that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I remember when Last of Us came out, it's not my type of game.
2013.
But I was like, you know, I'll give it a shot.
Dude, 10 years ago.
Yeah, and before you know it, you're so invested in
Yeah.
the game. And then now I'm so invested in the show.
Yeah, the
and
show was amazing.
It was.
It was I do feel the last episode was a little short. I think they could have expanded a little bit more.
I 100% agree.
I honestly think it should have been 10 episodes.
Yeah.
It should have been 10 and they should have broken up the last like 3 episodes a little bit better.
I don't think Pedro Pascal can fucking miss right now. though.
No.
He's Din Djarin.
When he wants to be.
Yeah.
If you hear that shit, there's 3. There's 3 people that are Mando.
Yeah.
There's the gunslinger, the one that does the fighting, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's Din or him when he wants to be on show. Like the
Which
close-up
I
with the-
don't necessarily disagree with him. He
No.
wanted to just do the voice.
Yeah.
Why do I need to be this guy that
Yeah.
never takes his helmet off?
At the same time, from season 1 when it was just really mostly him and then
Uh-huh.
he's so good at body presence
I
and like
agree.
you can feel his emotions even without seeing his face.
Yeah.
And
Even
that's
when he
very
walks
hard
in
to
the
do.
room, you're like, this is a bad son of a bitch right
If
here.
you want to know how hard that is, go watch Spider-Man 1 with Willem Dafoe. Watch him as the Green Goblin and watch him try to emote.
Yeah.
And it's like Kevin Smith talked about, it's like watching 2 Power Ranger action figures like kids playing when you practically see the hands.
Yeah.
That's how you do it bad. And that was Sam Raimi and Willem Dafoe,
Mm-hmm.
like star-studded people, and they failed at it.
Yeah.
But he can portray every emotion in the sun
I
and
mean, the
never
man
see
that
his face.
directed Elf is
Yeah.
putting one of the best Star Wars shows out.
Well,
and
not only that, but like most
I
of the time
hated
he's
Boba Fett.
Oh, okay. So I didn't
I
like it
liked
until the
it.
last 2 episodes.
See, I disagree.
I didn't like it until Din showed up.
Okay, so we are on the same boat.
Yeah.
When Din showed up, the show got good.
Yes.
Yes.
When it turned into Mandalorian 3.5 or whatever, it
Right.
got so much better. And then,
I thought it was gonna be like this gangster. I mean, he took over the Hutts,
Yeah.
and
well, like my very first episode, me and my friend AJ chat about how the funniest thing was those damn KitchenAid mixer looking fucking speeders.
and they look slow.
They look stupid
Oh
as shit.
my god, it looks so bad. And this supposed to be the baddest fucking dude in the
Yeah,
galaxy.
yeah.
And
And it had Tamora Morrison, like the perfect actor for
Yes.
it. Like, and I love that dude. Like,
yes,
how is it that he's better as Aquaman's dad than Boba Fett?
right.
like,
He was better as Jango Fett
Yeah.
than he was as
Yeah.
Boba Fett. And
yes, that is fucking weird. Why is he better in the prequels?
right,
That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen.
it shouldn't happen,
Like-
but it was. And I
Good
thought-
point.
I
Good
thought-
Star Wars point.
I thought Kenobi was really good.
I thought Kenobi was awesome, except for the chase with Flea
Yeah,
in episode 1.
yeah.
That retard. Yeah. Well, it was retarded because it's slow. I'm actually using the technical version of the
Yeah,
word.
it
It was El retard.
Yeah.
It was a very slow chase from a little girl with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which threw me off
He
so much.
can't run this girl down. Are you
No.
shitting me? It is.
Well, not only that, but then it's like it's so much. It's almost like stunt casting, almost. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know Flea acts, and he was great in Big Lebowski and a couple
Yeah.
other movies. But when it's such an iconic guy as it's Flea, like even in pop culture, people know that's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
He's been in Simpsons. Like,
Yeah.
so like to put him in that role to where he's the surprise at the end of this little race in the very first episode, everybody's just like, what the fuck's Flea doing here? Like, it's just
Yeah.
like, what? It's like, it was so jarring to me and not Din jarring.
No.
Yeah.
What bothered me, the only thing about that whole show, I thought the emotions were good. Even
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's, he's great in everything.
I thought anything to, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
His emotions, like you felt like this destroyed guy
Yeah.
trying to figure it out after his best friend / brother fucking turns on him. He's just trying to figure it out while he protects his own kids.
Yeah.
And my only bitch about the whole show was the Kenobi Anakin training scene.
With old
'Cause-
Anakin.
Dude,
It didn't need it. We didn't need it.
first of all, we didn't need it, but he didn't need to look 40 in it
No.
either. You know, like at this point, he's a Padawan.
Yeah.
He's 15, 16, 17, and
I felt the same way with like Mando season 2 when they had the reveal of Luke and it was a CGI Luke. It's like, yes, we can do it, but like people were like at the same time wanting Sebastian Stan to do Luke because he looks pretty good. Like close,
he
like
does
Mark.
look really good as him.
And it's like one of those things where I think Disney and Marvel and Star Wars have done this with the shows where it's like they have this ambitious idea like we're gonna push boundaries of technology so well that this is gonna work, and then they shoot it, and then they get to post, and they can't do it, and it's already done.
Yeah,
And I think
fuck.
they need to stop doing that, and they need
Yeah.
to actually just do what's best for the shot, not what can we do later
right,
with ILM, and Weta picking up the work of it.
right.
Like I see that a lot of times with their shit.
I think Ahsoka's great.
Yes.
I'm excited for that deal
Yeah.
to come out. She's perfect for Ahsoka.
Yeah,
like,
Rosario Dawson is
Yeah.
amazing.
She was great in Clerks.
Yes.
I love her. I think she's great.
Even
but
did you watch Clerks 3?
I have not watched it yet.
You should watch.
I need.
She's
to.
great in it.
I'm
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's you will cry if you are a fan
really?
of Clerks 1 and 2 and
I'm a
like that whole
huge fan of
universe.
it. Yeah.
I was bawling in this show.
Really?
Yes, it is so touching. It is so good, and it was so inspiring because also it's like, have you seen the trailer for it or anything?
Yeah.
Where like Randall decides to film a movie about Clerks. Basically, like it's a Clerks.
Kevin
one that-
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like Randall has a heart attack and he decides to change his life and basically has a midlife crisis and says, I'm going to film a movie about Clerks. And basically does that. And it's so inspiring. Bless you, by the way.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring of
coming.
like that also was like this kind of inspired me. Like, like little people trying to make something big on their own with their friends and stuff like that.
I feel like Kevin Smith himself is inspiring.
Agreed.
He didn't go through all the big promotion bullshit.
Dude.
He made it
yeah.
happen. Like I think that is so awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of people, I've met, I say a lot of comics. I'm not going to name anyone specific because a few of them are kind of like bigger names that hate like Trevor Wallace. He's self-made. How do you hate a guy on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people like say like I don't like certain genres of music or that's just because it's a genre, and I'm like, I don't hate any type of like traditionally I don't like a lot of newer country, but
Yeah.
I recognize talent and I can recognize a lot of effort and work going into something. Like one of my favorite artists right now is Oliver Tree.
Yeah.
Like that dude puts so much work and skill and there's so much effort into that shit. You can't help but respect it.
I'm digging the music right now too.
Like you know what I mean though? But like, you
Yeah.
can see how self-made, how much work he puts into it. Childish Gambino, another way. Like
Tyler the Creator. was
Tyler
one.
Creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You can just recognize how much skill and effort they're putting into it, and you can't help but appreciate and respect it.
Right.
And that's kind of what the best things I listen to and I watch stuff like that.
Right.
Um,
See, I grew up. I've only mostly listened to metal my whole life. If you actually went through my Spotify, you'd be like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Is he schizophrenic? It's
oh yeah, mine's scary as shit.
mine goes from Slipknot to Whitechapel to Slaughter to Prevail. I mean to George Strait to fucking Tyler the Creator, all the way back. Even Elvis is in there.
Yeah.
Like it's across the spectrum, and I don't shit on anyone. If that's what you feel like,
Yeah.
I'm not suicidal by no means, but I've listened to Slipknot since fourth or fifth grade.
Yeah.
There was a video game that came out called MTX Moto Tracks. It was Travis Pastrana's dirt bike game.
I remember that. Yeah.
And Slipknot was like the main band on that game. And man, I fell in love with them. And that led into As I Lay Dying and so on and so forth. But going through high school, I was, at one point I was the big stud wide receiver, started varsity as a freshman. And like I said, before we started filming, I was never meant to be an athlete. I was a nerd, but I was just really fucking fast and really good at catching footballs. And so I just kept doing that, but my senior year, going into my senior year, I had full-fledged open heart surgery and two heart surgeries, one full-fledged, break the ribs, all that shit.
Jesus.
And I had a 2.5-inch hole in my heart, and they fixed it. And then I went back to playing football and I had all these colleges interested and all this and that. And then I blew my knee out playing football, and colleges, I became a leopard to them, and I blew my knee out, and then I was like, well, I always wanted to join the military because my grandpa fought in World War II for Nazi Germany, and I made that up. He fought for the U.S.
The way you subtly get those gets me every time. It's well done. It's very well done. It reminds me of take this as a compliment. I hope you do. Is Kevin Nealon.
Mm-hmm.
The way his comedy is of dropping stuff under his breath, it very reminds me of. So like, I don't say props to you because that's the first thought that comes to my mind is like Kevin Nealon is so great at that.
Yeah,
I've just run on sentences and dropping stuff under his breath and just you can't catch it until like, oh shit.
I do it a lot in my stand up. Like I have this threesome story, which someone pointed out to me a while back was I was molested story. And I was like, no, I wasn't. I was fully aware of what I was doing. Yeah. But I was 13 hanging out with these seniors. And I ended up having a threesome with one of my buddies and this girl. And the story is true. It was like Christmas break. My buddy calls me and he's like, man, I really want to hang out. I'm bored as fuck. Let's do something. And we go see A Christmas Carol. Of all fucking things to do, that's what we go do together. Yeah, me and another dude I hang out with. And on stage, though, I was like, and about halfway through the movie, he leans over and he starts kissing me. And then I'm just fucking with him. He didn't kiss me.
Jesus Christ, man.
I was like, no, he actually leaned over and he was like, hey, man, I got this chick who's down for a threesome. Are you down? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. Like, dude, and this is no bullshit. I had lost my virginity like 2 weeks prior to this. So I'm just like, in my head, I was like, this is all happening. That's
the hardest part with me is like people ask me, when did you lose your virginity? I'm like, consensually?
Right.
That's like...
I remember the girl I did lose it to. She lived a street over.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt it with that much.
I had never said a word to this girl ever, but I'm 13. I'm horny, and
yeah,
she texts me. I know her. Like, you should come over. I have a tent, and I go over, and
that's a coincidence. I'm pitching one right now.
Exactly, dude. Like,
let's go camping.
Yeah, hard it is to run with a hard dick. Like, it's crazy. And I snuck over to her house middle of the night. And we get to fucking around, and I didn't lose my virginity that night, but I was like, this is the girl I'm gonna fuck for sure.
Yeah.
And my mom calls me in the middle of this, like I'm in the middle of like we're full foreplay shit, and my mom calls, and I ignored it, and I took off running home. Here's how dumb I was as a kid.
Oh God.
I jumped the back fence. I mean, drenched in sweat by this point. I
thought you were gonna say your boner caught the fence top or something.
I don't have the equipment to do that. I'd have to drag my belly across the fence, And
same.
I jumped the fence. I'm out of breath, standing in my own backyard, and I call my mom like, "Hello," and she was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing. I just went for a walk." She's like, "Why are you out of breath?" Yeah. And my mom that's how cool my mom was. Like she was a good. Here's where you're fucking up. You're a fucking idiot. But I could be very honest with my mom.
Yeah.
And I want the same relationship with my kids. Like, that was like the very first, like, bluntly honest with my mom. Like, I go in the house, she's like, what were you, it's like 2:30 in the morning. She's like, what were you doing? Like, nothing. I was just walking around. She's like, what are you doing? I said, do you really want to hear I was fingering the fuck out of this girl up the street? And my mom's like, oh, goddamn, I'm going to bed. I was like, well, goddamn, you wanted to know.
This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by someone like Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet. Man, I really wish I had a new wallet, Stefano. Mine's falling apart over here. It's like held together by dreams and duct tape. And it's pretty empty as it is. Man, if I had a company like Ridge sponsoring this show, guys, you wouldn't have to hear these horrible, horrible fake ads. So if you want to make that happen, reach out to your favorite company like Ridge and tell them to sponsor the show, Unloading Meat. Anyway, back to the show. I will have to get some food in a second because like my shit is like starting to be like I'm smoking too much, and I haven't ate since breakfast. So I'm like going because like this is my second podcast, and I've been going.
Who was before me?
Alex Horner.
Oh, he was here today.
Yeah, he's here today.
Really?
Yeah, went.
I like Alex.
Alex is a good guy.
Yeah, he. I did that Canes deal. We got to talking after, and he was one of many now. That was like, dude, you're so much like Nate Bargatze on stage, but as dirty as like Tom Segura. And I was like, dude, high five me right now. Like that's not what I'm shooting for, but I will gladly take that compliment because I hate clean comedy. I hate it. I'm not good at it. I can run a clean show, but it just don't feel like me.
Yeah, and it's kind of how I am too. Like
Yeah.
I try, and like there's people that clean does pay better. I mean, you can get better
100%.
gigs, 100%.
100%.
I'm not doubting it. And like people like Nate Bargatze are a master at it.
For sure.
But it takes a special kind.
It does. I mean, he
um,
grew up not cussing at all.
Yeah.
Like truly, that's him. And Jim Gaffigan is another really good,
Yeah.
clean comic. But I've ran clean shows. It doesn't feel like me. I'm not as confident in it. I don't have a problem running the same jokes and taking, fuck out of it
Yeah.
or shit or whatever. But it just don't feel right.
I agree with you, and I also like. There's times like, the Looney Bin doesn't want you to really be too risque.
Right.
But within reason, don't drop fuck every 5 seconds, but like within reason, you can be good. Sometimes within restrictions, it does let the creativity go faster, better.
Mhm.
Like, cause with like you're trying to work around something, so you creatively figure out stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, I am right there with you, where I am not a clean comic by any stretch of the imagination, and it's
Right.
I got to do what's comfortable for me.
Yeah.
But I also tried to, if I'm signing up for a show and that's the rules, I do agree to the rules.
100%.
I bring it up to like when I worked at one cell phone company one time that was allegedly against tattoos.
Yeah.
I signed up for the job, so hey, I wore long sleeve
Yeah,
shirts.
I'll
I did the
cover.
thing. Like I submitted to the take that job. I apply by the rules.
Mhm.
And it was the middle of July, and the AC went out, and it was like 107 in the store, and I'm in a sweater vest, and my coworkers are getting outraged because I'm like having a heat stroke. Like I'm sweating my balls off. I'm really sick. I'm going
Right.
back in the bathroom and like throwing cold water on myself and stuff because I had to keep long sleeves on and stuff. And come to find out that day, it was just that manager at that store that had the tattoo policy because she thought they were icky. It wasn't actually the company policy. She was lying that entire time. So I was almost having a heat stroke because of her view on tattoos. And then like her big boss was there that day, and he was like, "Where's your tattoos?" And I showed him, and he's like, "There's nothing offensive. Go out there and just wear a t-shirt." I'm like, "God, man, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
And like after that, I was like, "I'm done with this company." Like I after like 2 months later, I was looking for another job. I was like,
Right.
This is already like it sucked." But like what I was getting at is like I knew what the rules were going into it. I accepted them, so I was the one that was never going to be outraged, but everybody around me was outraged about it,
Right.
and I was just like, "It's not a big deal."
Yeah. My first experience at Looney Bin was rough.
Mine too. You know the 15-year
yeah,
story.
yeah. Well, it wasn't that rough,
Yeah,
but
I legit had PTSD over this shit. Like honestly, 2 weeks ago when I filmed that Blue Whales thing, the reason I did it so much is because like that was 15 years from me going to the Looney Bin. I had never gone back since.
right.
And honestly, I had a lot of anxiety that night.
My first time there, I was fresh to the comedy scene, and I was like, man, in my head, like I said, I hit the ground running. In my head, I was like, if I can go kill at the comedy club of
Yeah.
Tulsa, like that'll be huge, And I went. I was by myself. That's what I met Michael Patton that night. I met a guy named Conrad from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Who have you met Conrad?
Yeah, I've met Conrad.
I enjoy the shit out of that alopecia shithead. I enjoy him, man. He's a cool dude. We were sitting
Jada,
there.
don't come after us.
Yeah. I'm not Chris Rock. I would have sued. Slap the fuck out of me. And,
Yeah.
But I went and
Did you watch Chris Rock's latest special?
I did.
It was pretty good how he
It's-
got. I mean, there was like 30 minutes basically on Roast and Will. It was
100%. Yeah.
And it was so genius.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
Well, it was old school Chris Rock
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
And the way he did it live and everything, just man,
Mm-hmm.
god damn, like that was impressive as hell.
Well, it's so fun now that I'm so deep into comedy to really start in a weird way pay attention to how people present
It's
their
an art.
comedy.
There's,
Like,
there's an
he's-
art form to it.
Yeah, he's a repeat, so you know what this joke's about. There's no underlying bullshit,
Yeah.
and then he hammers the punchline and it kills.
Like Dave Chappelle, man. Like Dave Chappelle's a master, man. And like,
Shit,
Dude,
dude. As far as I'm concerned, he'll forever be the GOAT.
Yeah,
I grew
agreed.
I grew up on Richard Pryor and
Yeah.
all these guys, but Dave Chappelle's the GOAT.
there's a reason that Chappelle's show still holds up. I mean, there's a reason that every single one of the specials are just so good, and it's like he is the GOAT. I mean, dude, like even like a couple specials ago when he did that fishbowl joke
Uh huh.
when he was
Where
talking about he just had the
pulled
random idea,
yeah.
and he's like, I'm gonna get her right, kick her in the pussy or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the punchline. He worked on that for like 5 minutes. You forget all about it, and he goes right back to it, and it works.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's so masterful, man.
Yeah,
It's
oh, yeah.
so good.
Which I try to keep in mind when I swear when I write jokes, because it's funny to be compared, you know, by people to Nate Bargatze but dirty, or you're like Nate Bargatze but like with Tom Segura's humor or whatever. It's because it's crazy to get it compared to them, because I'm leaning more towards like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And I take so much of his advice he talks about and shit, and he just can't beat the guy. He's the man. And
I just have to keep going. Like, nothing is off limits if you come at it at a smart angle. If you come at it over the,
I agree.
I try really hard to stop listening to people telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, you shouldn't do a joke about this, and it's coming from other comics and stuff. And I'm like, I understand where you're coming from. It's not for me.
Right.
Maybe you don't want to go there. I have to.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like I said, there's no line to cross.
Yeah.
It's comedy, and the people who do get offended, do you forget where you're at? It blows me away. You came out tonight, like whether you knew the comic or you were just looking for a night out.
Agreed.
You knew walking into this, it was a comedy show. There's a pretty good fucking chance you're not gonna like everybody up there. And I've been fortunate to even. And my favorite thing ever is when you can see someone who you know is not into you, but you can get them to fuck around and laugh. That is my absolute. Like when I did Memphis, I did 4 shows in Memphis. It was a festival, and I think there was 20 comics, and out of these 20 comics, I'm the only white one. It's an all black show, and I didn't mind it. You know, honestly, I got nervous when not even from like the people. When I pulled up to the comedy club, I was like, I'm in the wrong part of this fucking town, and I went in, I met the comics. I stand out so much. This girl comic, she said, she starts whispering to the lady that owns the comedy club, and then they start laughing, and I can tell they're talking about me, and she went, "Are you a comic?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I thought you were here to audit us. I didn't know what the fuck you were doing here," and that's how I got introduced to all these comics in Memphis, and I was so fucking nervous. It's the most nervous I've ever been for a show in my life, because I know it's a black comedy club.
Yeah.
And typically I weirdly do better in front of black crowds than I do white crowds. And
yeah.
I don't know why.
I can see it. I can see it.
I don't know why, but I do. I don't know if it's because I say the shit that they won't or what, but like I used to have this whole bit about Joe Rogan being Jesus, and it wrapped up, long story short, Jesus had crazy followers. Joe Rogan has crazy followers. Joe Rogan got in trouble for some shit he shouldn't have said. But Jesus grew up in a different time. So if you don't think he said some off-colored shit, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
The white crowd's against it. Like, bomb that joke.
Yeah.
If I'm in front of a black crowd, they just think it's the funniest shit
Yeah.
they've ever heard. But I was so nervous just because where the club was, I'm out of my element at this club. I almost went home. And I drove all the way to Memphis to do this show.
Sure.
And coincidentally, I had watched this deal before I left, this little documentary series called You Have to Kill. And it had Tom Segura on it and a couple other comics. There was this comedy club owner out of Minnesota, I want to say. He's Asian. And he flew these 4 comics to, I think it was like Hong Kong, Vietnam, like these just Asian
Holy
countries.
shit.
And he made them go up every night in front of these Asian crowds.
That's so great experience.
100%.
Like, oh my God.
I mean, even Tom Segura like bombs on the show. And I thought, as dumb as it is, as how dumb my brain works, I thought, I mean, he's Tom Segura, but like even at this time, he was still Tom Segura.
Yeah.
But I was like, if Tom can fly to another country and do these jokes in front of people that don't understand what the fuck he's saying, I can handle Memphis.
Yeah.
And I went on that first night, and
it's refreshing, and it's kind of really speaks to your character that you can pull that from that, and I really respect that. Like,
I appreciate it.
Like that says a lot though. Yeah. Like that you can say that, and you can kind of take from that a really good lesson.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I remember I was sitting in the crowd. I might as well have been a light bulb in this fucking room. It was so dark. I'm the only white guy there. Every comic mentioned it, that I was the only white guy there. And it was a good time, though, man. And I got up there. I told some dumb jokes, and it lands here and there, and then I started really just hammering this thing. And I closed on this joke I had written about making a doctor's visit, and I still run this joke every now and then. I think it was in my last one at the Canes, about how I didn't know through COVID, doctor visits got fucked up, and you had to do virtual calls. And so I FaceTime this doctor. I can't see him really well, and he tells me I need a prostate exam. And I folded, and I set my phone down, and he's going to walk me through it. And I almost get to my asshole, and all I heard was, nice. And I was like, what the fuck? So I grabbed my phone, and it's my dad on the other end of the line. And, dude, when I said this joke in front of probably, I don't know, 200
Holy shit.
Memphis-born, I mean, like, true blue Memphian.
Amphibians? Amphibians.
Dude, I've never killed on a joke that hard in my life. And I remember getting off stage, I was like, what was I so nervous about? And it was the greatest experience, really, because, like I said, I was out of my element.
Yeah.
I mustered through and did it, knowing it might not go to my liking. And I was supposed to do, I think I was supposed to do 30 minutes, and I did damn near an hour.
Holy shit.
Dude, the crowd just ate it up. They had one joke about shitting in public and how I'm self-conscious about it, and how I like to go into Quick Trip. This is true. I've done it a bunch of times for no reason. Like, I'll go piss. Someone's in there taking a shit. I'll just roast that guy for no reason, and then I'll sneak out. I'll just be like, I'll stand there and be like, dude, you're a worthless piece of shit. And just hammer this guy for shitting in public. Like, we all do, you know? But I'll just be like, you're the nastiest motherfucker in Tulsa. And just, I'll go pretend to shop just to watch this guy come out. And I've done it so many times, I wrote it into a bit. And I was telling the story in Memphis about how I recommend everybody does it. Just go roast someone in public for no reason. And this lady was like, you ain't from Memphis, are you? And I was like, man, this is like one of my first jokes. I was like, this is not gonna go well.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, fuck Memphis. You know, it's like, first thing I said, I was like, fuck Memphis. Go do it. I don't give a fuck where you live.
Yeah.
And it's still, it's not just some dumb bit I wrote up.
Yeah.
My brother started it. He started it on me when I was shitting. And that grew into, like, we'd be pissing at the same time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And for no reason, I was just like, you're worthless, man. You're a worthless piece of shit in there. And just hammer that guy, and then, you know, go dig in the chips or whatever until they come out.
I mean, it's kind of like where the origin of the preheat segment came on for the show. It's like, I don't know if you've seen the preheat on my show, or did you see the email?
Yeah.
So, like, that's kind of like the origin of this. It's like, it started from, I grew up fat, and, like, I had to think of the fat jokes about myself to kind of take the thunder out of them before,
Right.
you know, before anybody else could come at me. It's like, oh, I've already thought of all the best ones. You got nothing on me.
Right. It's like growing up with Barbie as your last name. Yeah.
Sure.
There's nothing you can say I
Sure.
have not heard of.
You
this
could totally relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's where the preheat segment came in. Is like, I know I'm putting this out there on YouTube. I know what I look like.
Right.
I know what I'm talking about. There's gonna be trolls.
Yeah.
So I will read their comments live on air every time I get some comments, as long as they include a picture of themselves and email it to us,
Right.
so I can retort and roast them on the air too.
Yeah. That's only fair.
I think it's only fair.
Yeah.
By the way, I think we should just go ahead and go in it.
The
got
preheat.
segment going.
it's hot.
Heat
We got the
segment.
preheat, and guys, if you want to join the preheat, all you have to do is send an email to unloadingmeat@gmail.com, subject preheat, and include a picture of yourself, and we'll read your dirty, disgusting comments about myself or whatever guest you wanted to talk about, as long as we can retort back.
I'm sure it's me. Yeah. I don't know. Roscoe looks like a piece of shit. I'm sure. I probably sent in 30 emails just on that guy.
You got any roast jokes for me or anything off the top of your head you want to roast me a little bit?
Well,
I could take it.
I was thinking about it on the way here. You
The
look
floor
like,
is yours.
well, you know, like the show Vikings. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's like what you're going for on that. But it looks like you would like plunder and rape everything at McDonald's. You know, it's just like
That was good.
I
That was good.
I thought about it. I thought I did. I'm not. I don't know. I roasted people growing up because my last name was Barbie. So when I started comedy, that was one of the first things I did when I got on stage. Like Garrett Barbie, everyone's like, "Fucking Barbie, are you shitting me?"
Yeah.
And it's really my name. So the first thing I did when I got up there, I was like, you know, I know you've heard that right. My last name is Barbie. I've heard all the dumb jokes. You know, like Ken, where's Barbie? Barbie dream house. That's the cutest dick I've ever seen, and just like stereotypical Barbie jokes.
I got
but
one for you.
I'd love to hear it.
You look like every guy that joins the neighborhood watch, and it makes every black kid not comfortable wearing a hoodie.
Dude, I when I first started comedy, I had someone come up to me and go, "You look like every generic white guy ever." And I was like, "I'm not that generic. I have an Eazy-E tattoo on the back of my arm." And then I thought, what's the whitest fucking thing I could have done in my entire life? And it's get an Eazy-E tattoo on the back of my arm. And I did it.
You got an Eazy-E tattoo?
I damn sure do.
Nice.
Yeah. I was dating this girl at the time. Straight Outta Compton had just come out. I was a huge fan of it. I liked NWA way before that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. You just love their attitude.
I did. Yeah.
And you're a big fan of clocks.
Yeah. And I used to have the rope chain, and I got a perm for no reason.
It was redneck, so it was a sundial.
Yeah, I started wearing a Compton hat for no reason, and but I was dating this girl at the time, and I'm so spontaneous with my tattoos. Like, there's nothing like,
Dude, so am I.
oh, this means, it's nothing like
I'm
that.
working on full sleeves too, and like a lot of my stuff was like tattoo, like cancer conventions and stuff like that. And,
Right, yeah.
And yeah, like I'm my Mr. BC. I have a Kool-Aid man on my fucking arm.
Like when I went to get this, it's so coincidental you have the Empire and Rebels.
Yeah.
Because I went to get the Empire and the Rebel on my wrists, and I ended up getting the back of my arm tattooed. And like these three, I got in Vegas. They were $10 tattoos. And this one is my son, and the unicorn or the Pegasus is my daughter, and then the elephant's my wife.
Nice.
And because she's big as shit, it's like a sack of laundry.
Jeez.
And no, she's unreal. I can't believe if you've listened to my set, I shit on my wife so much.
Oh.
And she's an amazing support group,
Yeah.
all on her own. She pushed me to do in comedy.
I mean, at the end of the day, she'll take it out on your backside.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm going to be shitting baseballs. So it all goes full circle. But no, my tattoos, other than this one, it did mean a lot. My mom had this tattooed on her shoulder.
Okay.
And she wanted to get a tattoo that said "Take it easy," and when she died, I got that tattooed, and I got my family, because at the time I got this, my daughter was obsessed with the Dropkick Murphy song "Rose Tattoo," so I got a rose tattoo in Duluth, Minnesota, and then I got that because I'm a fucking nerd.
I mean, I got like my favorite X-Men is Nightcrawler, and then I got 2 Deadpools. I got a Power Ranger on my arm. I mean, I got nerd shit everywhere.
Same shit.
Yeah.
And then I have the racing shit, But the Eazy-E tattoo, the girl I was dating at the time, I guess I'm spontaneous with tattoos. Nothing's planned. It is and isn't. I've had these plans since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But I remember I told her, I was just joking around. I said, I'm thinking about getting an Eazy-E tattoo. She was like, you're not going to. I was like, okay. Well,
Now you have to.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
She's like, if you did, I would break up with you. And I swear on my life, I got tattooed that night with Easy on my back of my arm, because I wanted an out.
Yeah.
And that seemed pretty easy,
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, couple $100, and this bitch is out of my life.
Oh
and
fuck yeah, that's cheaper than a divorce.
guarantee it. And I got it, and she stuck around for another fucking 6 months, and I hated it. You're divorced twice? God, I literally told my wife today on the phone, if we got divorced, I would never do it again.
I didn't think I would, and then, like, honestly, like my first divorce, like we had a pretty bad falling out, and there's still like I don't talk to her. Like there's
Right.
a lot of. It was a very fucked up relationship, and then there's yeah. So then my second wife, we were just incompatible. Like they just I still talk to her, and we're still friendly. I mean, for the
Right.
kids especially. We
I
have
mean,
a great-
hats off to you
Yeah.
for that too, though.
it's just like I'm officially just a co-parent with her. Like I don't want
Mhm.
anything past that. I'm a parent. I don't need to know about your life. You're remarried or whatever. It just hats off to you. We've kind of gone our separate ways. We were just incompatible.
Yeah.
Um.
Which is super, super mature too, though.
I mean, at the time, I still like. There's reasons why I don't want a friendship, and that's kind of like the way that she left, and the way that she treated my oldest daughter when she left. Because like I only have one daughter with each wife.
Mhm.
So like my oldest daughter, lives with me, and my second wife came in and like was her stepmom for like 6 or 7 years,
Mhm.
or and then kind of just dropped her cold turkey whenever she left me, and it kind of I go by character, and I'm like that showed your true character kind of shit. Like
Yeah.
do whatever you want with me, but like my kid didn't deserve that, and
100%.
I'll never kind of get over that.
Right.
So that's where I don't associate. And again,
Right.
this part will be cut, but yeah, that's where I'm at with that part about it.
Yeah.
And it made it getting over it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm dating somebody now. This is the first time I've dated somebody in almost 2 years.
Right.
So again, I don't even know if I'll ever get remarried again.
Right.
I just don't.
Yeah. I told my wife, I was like, if this don't work,
Yeah.
never again. And I guess it was my tone or something. She was like, "Is it that bad for you?" I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I just would never do this again."
Yeah.
Because like I feel like all guys daydream of like, man, back when I was single, and it's not even just like the hunting pussy or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just freedom. You could
Yeah.
do whatever you wanted. You didn't have someone hounding you. Oh my God, you're gonna sit around all day and do this, you
Yeah.
know, and. Oh, it was so much nicer. And then my ex-boss, who's questionably gay,
Okay.
he's I would say he's a good dude. He's not, but he's very feminine, which some guys are. I've met plenty of them that are, but we got to bullshitting one night. We were drinking, and I was just joking around. I was like, you know how much easier it'd be to be gay? And he was like, oh my God, yeah, dude. And he goes into it just like, normal bullshit
Yeah.
conversation, and it would. Like my buddy that's very gay I was telling you about earlier. If me and him were together, it would just be so much easier.
Did you ever I'm a big fan of Norm Macdonald.
Oh, yeah.
His album where he had him and Will Ferrell are the two first gays.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever hear that?
Oh, yeah.
That is, oh my God. And like, it's just that conversation where like,
yeah.
Let's try it. And then they do the actual sex. He's, ah! And he's
Yeah.
screaming for like 3 bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
It's-
but my ex-boss was like,
Use lube, folks. Use lube.
I guarantee it.
Go slow.
You don't want to prolapse. I
No.
mean, that's worst case scenario.
No, that's like getting into like the heavy segments of YMH Live or something. I don't even ever watch that shit.
Oh, yeah.
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 I'm a big Tom Segura fan. So like,
Same. But prolapse, I don't get it.
no.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh.
We can move on from that. We can just
Anyway,
move on from that subject.
Yeah, my boss was like, yeah, dude, it'd be so much easier. And it would, like, for me, it'd be like, hey, I don't feel like doing shit today. I'm going to play
Yeah.
games. Or, hey, I'm going to go to the races, or whatever. But he was like, yeah, dude. And, like, me and you would, like, go to the races, and then we'd just come home and fuck each other. But he was, like, so sincere about it. I was like, okay. I don't know if you know I'm fucking around, but not going to happen, man. And he was like, no, it's nothing gay. I was like, everything you said was pretty gay. Like, you know what I mean?
You ever watched Orgasmo?
Fuck yeah. Dude.
Remember Trey or Matt
you
Stone's
damn right I
that
do.
character that with the bullet and the
I don't know it's not queer or nothing, but I think unicorns are kick ass.
yeah. I always think about that. Like it just pops in my mind. Like just
100%.
my lexicon of like weird
He's
movies.
my favorite character in the whole movie.
Oh my God! Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Especially because now Jeremy's canceled.
Yeah, I can't.
He was a fan of comedy and everything.
Yeah,
Most
dude,
of it just slept.
I had to quit watching Boondock Saints because of him. I just who would have? I mean, you do sex for a living.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to take it a step further? It's
Yeah.
crazy to me. And his
It's
huge
kind of like
dick.
when Harvey Weinstein did his shit. It's like I bet you could get pussy the regular way. I mean, you have enough money to buy it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy top tier escorts.
And then he like came on the fake plants in the room and stuff too. Like that's just gross.
I actually listened to a story not too long ago that he got out of line with whoever the fuck Brad Pitt was with at the time.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Or was it?
It was Gwyneth.
It was Gwyneth.
It was Gwyneth Paltrow. And Brad Pitt went and fucking
Yes.
confronted him over
Yes.
it. Yeah.
She talked about it on Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that made me respect Brad so much too.
100%.
Like that's a good
Maybe,
dude.
Like, also in the top tier of best looking guys in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Agreed.
Oh, and Fury, I was like, if I could pull
Oh.
that haircut off, 100%. He was such a boss
Troy.
in that movie.
Him and Troy. The
Yeah,
long blonde hair. Oh my
for
God.
sure.
That first 5 seconds where like he fights that big dude and just one hits him, like
Mhm.
just stabs him, that jumping hit. I'm just like, why is my dick hard? Like it's just like
I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Dude, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to write it into a bit. And I'd have ran it on stage because I was out of shit to talk about. But when me and my wife first started dating, she wanted to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I
Yeah.
had not seen 1 at the time. I was burnt out on superhero movies at the time. I mean, after Tobey Maguire, I was just like, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
And we went and seen, and I was, as a man, or especially, maybe I'm just a dick. When I'm so negative about something, I have to keep that. No matter how much I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
I have to just keep downplaying
Yeah,
it.
when keeping it real goes too long, goes
Exactly.
wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I was like, I don't want to see that stupid shit.
Yeah.
And she was like, I really want to. I was like, all right, fuck it. We'll go. So I take her. I enjoy
The perfect
hell-
way to experience a Marvel movie.
Yeah. And, I
With,
mean,
without said hate going in.
100%. And only reason I wanted to see it, because I think Zoe Saldana is hot no matter what she does.
Especially with those little antler things she had.
Yeah,
Or no,
even-
she was Gamora. She wasn't Gamora.
She was Gamora.
Yeah,
but
I'm thinking
even-
of Mantis. I'm thinking of the the
Oh
other girl.
yeah, the brain with Kurt Russell or whatever. Yeah. But even in Avatar, I was like, I would fuck shit out of this alien. Like, she's gorgeous.
That
And-
there's a whole bunch. I was watching that on TikTok. There was some comedians talking about like the most unrealistic thing about Avatar is like there's no fucking humans wanting to just fucking jerk off and hump all the
100
fucking Navi or whatever they're
I haven't seen that, but that is 100% accurate.
like in realistic, all those army dudes are like there's gonna be a few of them that are just like it's like fucking anime porn. It's like
I guarantee
hentai.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Hentai. I forgot.
Like, they go to
about-
the fucking bathrooms and the fucking base, and there's just fucking hentai, fucking
yeah.
Navi getting railed with their USB tails and shit like that.
100%. We went and seen. That's the only reason I really went. And I love Chris Pratt too, so
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, fuck it, I might enjoy it. Watch the whole movie, just enjoy myself, start to finish. And I said I hadn't seen the first one. We leave, and she's like, "Did you enjoy it?" I was like, "No, I fucking hated it.
Oh my
hated
God,
every second
dude.
of it." And she's like, "Are you serious? Like, it seemed like you were enjoying it." I was like, "No, I hated it. Like, just like pegging. It looks like I'm enjoying it, but I don't." And so we get home the next day. It rains. I work construction, so when it rains, I don't work. She goes to work. As soon as she leaves, I already have Volume 1, Galaxy.
It's
first
a great
one.
movie. It's so good.
It's teed up,
Yeah.
ready to go, and I even like out the blinds, like I'm about to jack off, like I'm.
Dude, I honestly think that's like that intro with him dancing is probably one of the top 10 Marvel intros of all the movies.
For sure.
It's so good.
But
in the way
I
introducing
had
it.
never seen the first one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but I have
Continue,
to make
yeah,
sure
continue.
she's gone
Yeah.
before I watch this movie. And as I said, I love the second one. So she's gone. She leaves. And it's like 20, 30 minutes later. I was like, all right, it's my time. So I'm watching this movie, and she walks back in the door. And I would have rather have gotten caught watching trans porn, anything other than that movie. I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck how weird.
Agreed.
Two Girls, One Cup, Two Kids in a Sandbox. I'd rather watch anything but that movie, because the look on her face, I remember it to this day just so well. She was like, "You like that movie?" I was like, "No, I've never seen the first one, so I didn't understand what's going on in the second one." You know, I would have gave anything to got caught watching any fucking thing else on the planet than Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Suicide Squad. Did I love it? No.
Wait, the original one or the James Gunn one?
The one with
With John Cena? Or the one with
No,
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto.
Okay. I okay.
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it.
It was just there.
Yeah, it was a cool spin on the Joker. I know everybody thinks he missed. It was just nice to see something different than the Jack Nicholson.
I that's another one thing we talked about, like the wasted potential thing I see and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff is like that one. David Ayer, the director, has basically disowned it, and then like he has begged Warner Brothers to let him do like an Ayer cut, kind of like they did the Snyder cut of Justice League, because
Yeah.
like that movie was cut after him,
Mhm.
and it was reshaped and molded into a superhero movie, and it wasn't supposed to be like that.
Right, it's supposed to be dark.
It's supposed to be
gritty.
way darker. There's
Mhm.
so many subplots that are just cut. To the point now where if you watch that movie and really look at it, the Joker does not affect the plot at all.
Zero.
You could take the Joker character completely out, and
Yeah.
he does not affect anything.
Yep.
And none of it makes sense. And then like the first half of it is literally just like music video intros over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like each character got two or three intros.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. Harley Quinn doing gymnastics.
Yeah,
all
and then
that.
like Deadshot, we had to see him both like two intros.
Mhm.
Like why? Like it made no sense. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's Katana, her sword's
Yeah.
possessed.
Yeah. Here's Slipknot. He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just-
It was a weird movie. Yeah,
It
but like,
was.
have you watched the second one?
Yeah.
I love that one,
dude,
and I love Peacemaker.
I was gonna say, I love John Cena. in
I
that
mean, I
movie.
have the like, I just got that Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey one because I love that movie too.
I thought he was so fucking funny
Yeah.
in that role, though. I
Yeah.
I haven't watched the show.
Please,
but
please do.
I love it too because
It's so
it feels so out of place for John Cena.
Yeah.
like
So much so that like I'm a wrestling guy. I'm like, I see him completely separate as John Cena actor now. Like I can't
Yeah.
like so much so like when he was in wrestling, he always had like the military haircut,
mm-hmm.
and now he has his hair grown out when he's acting.
Yeah.
So when he goes back to WWE and I see a scene, I'm like, this looks weird. This is like multiverse John Cena. This is weird. This is weird.
yeah,
Because I'm like, why is John Cena the actor dressed cosplaying as a wrestler? It
Yeah.
doesn't look right anymore.
yeah. I'm not. I said I don't know. My uncles were super into WWE and all that, but I watched a clip today. I never got into it as a kid. We weren't allowed to. It was like
Yeah.
playing soccer. We weren't allowed to do it because it turns you gay. But I watched him when he went off script against The Rock
Yeah.
and pointed out he reads shit off
Does
his
notes?
wrist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And The Rock got pissed.
It was legit fucking anger right there.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was fucking awesome.
One of my favorite. There's a YouTube shout out Botchamania.
Mhm.
There's a YouTube channel, and all it is a bot. Do you know what a botch is?
Yeah.
A mess up.
Yeah.
So all they do is it's a clip show of all the best botches of like ad lib lines, like whenever like when Booker T, a black dude, dropped the N word live on TV,
Mhm.
just like random flubs and shit.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Shockmaster? Do you know of the Shockmaster?
Uh-uh.
As a Star Wars fan, I'm going to educate you because Star Wars went into wrestling just for one brief appearance. I'm gonna show you the Shockmaster. So this is Sting, Ric Flair, and they're gonna have this British Bulldog. They're having this epic feud, and they're gonna introduce their brand new tag team partner. This guy making his intro to WCW, the Shockmaster.
Before you get carried away, who their special tag team partner?
Well, like, yeah, it's just they got a stormtrooper helmet and they just spray painted it so
Yeah.
much he couldn't even see out of it.
It looks like you can't. see
Yeah,
out of it.
and
Yeah.
it just falls on his face.
It
He didn't
drops
know
the
that. He didn't know
helmet.
there was a board right there that was on a set because it was just a frame and a fake drywall. This episode of Unloading Meat is not brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. And I know you're probably wondering, probably thinking to yourself, man, this ad break looks and sounds an awful lot like the other one, but without the hat. And you know what? You're a little right. But you're also forgetting that I changed glasses. Nice. Anyway, if you're tired of these fake ads, reach out to your favorite companies like Raid Shadow Legends. Tell them to sponsor this podcast Unloading Meat, and we'll get back to the show.
Fucking love White Castle.
I love White Castle too.
God damn.
I actually, so when my first, I'm not gonna say the company, the first big carrier I worked for cell phones, I had to go to training in St. Louis, and I was there every weekend, and that's where I first discovered White Castle, and I would go there and
Yeah?
eat that, and my hotel was right next to a White Castle,
Oh, it's
or
so
down the line,
worth it.
and it was, yeah, I love
It's-
it. Even the fucking frozen ones still hold up and are actually still half decent.
I
It's
fucking
a
agree.
miracle. I don't understand how they're so good. But
I don't either. My brother swears I like White Castle because none of my friends do.
Yeah.
But I mean,
There's just something about it.
it's so good.
It's so good.
The only one I've hammered my friends like every time we go to St. Louis every year.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we got to get White Castle, and we always do. Usually, you're right there in downtown
I wish there
St.
was
Louis.
one here.
Oh, me too. They're based out of Wichita.
And it's crazy. There's nothing here.
There's nothing. There's not even one in Wichita.
like when Harold and Kumar did their whole shit about it, I was like, I can kind of understand, especially if you're hiding at the munchies. Like that just sounds great.
oh yeah, you can smash fucking 20 of them little things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to one in Illinois, right across the river, and I was like, "Come on, you fucking, you pussies, let's eat White Castle." And dude, it's the worst White Castle I've ever had, but I had talked so highly about it.
Yeah.
I had to eat it and pretend it was like the greatest thing. Like these buns, like they had dumped. Like I'm pretty sure they cleaned the floor with them, and they were. When you'd pull them apart,
Don't you hate that when you recommend it and it's the worst part of that chain?
It was, and I ate it like I loved it, and I literally just shit fire and water for the next 4 days, and
I had so not that I'm a show for Red Lobster, but I like Red. I love seafood. So like I was like, it was a treat. My parents weren't rich or anything. But it was a special treat like once in like years like that. Like hey,
yeah, if you went
let's go to the Red Lobster. You were like that was
Yeah.
the shit.
for sure.
So like that was always just a special thing growing up around this area. So like when I went to my trainings, there was a time where we went to St. Louis and there's a Red Lobster by the hotel or by the airport. It's I believe. St. Louis. Yeah, it's St. Louis.
Yeah.
There's a Red Lobster by the airport.
Mhm.
Did you know that it's segregated?
I did not.
It may not be in 2011. It was.
Where'd you sit?
So I was like, hey, let's go to the Red Lobster, guys. Let's all go there because we had per diem from the fucking company and stuff like that. We had our meals comped.
Uh-huh.
I'll go there and like it's me and this other white blonde lady, and we went there one time and didn't think any of it. We got seated and we were seated and everything was good. Didn't think any of it. The next time we went with one black lady within our group, and that was a conundrum because they didn't know where to seat us. And then we started noticing like there's a white side and it's all black staff. And then like there's no black people that sit on that side. It was like the sunroom kind of thing. And then you go to the bar side and only the black people were seated at the bar.
In 2011?
Yeah. It was the craziest thing to where we were noticing. We're like, this is fucking awkward as fuck. And I think I even like tweeted or MySpaced it at the time or something like that. I was just like, what the fuck are we like in the Twilight Zone? This was weird.
Yeah.
And it was the Red Lobster right by the fucking airport. And it like total segregation in it. And it was like just an unspoken thing. They just seated all the people separately.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
God, I would have went in blackface. And then,
Like it was just one of those things where like the first time we went, we didn't notice. And then the second time we got seated and we it was a red flag. And then it's very alarming when you notice it.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The food was good.
Well, yeah, it's always good.
Yeah.
But
Probably
That's
because they had the
crazy.
Mexicans cooking it.
I
They had them in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have their own area.
Yeah.
I never noticed. And I grew up, privileged and white. We had so much money because we're white. No, I'm just playing. No, my dad did meth. We didn't have much money. But
Mexican American.
it was the only time I witnessed racism, not necessarily, but could have happened in front of me. I don't know. It's probably 8 years ago. I had turned at this green light on a not turn, and these super, super, super respectful, nice, like maybe 18-year-old black kids ran into me, like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
They were so nice. And then they were hanging out with this one. It wouldn't have made a fuck if he was white or black. He was just a piece of trash.
Yeah.
They were so respectful that I'm like, why are you hanging out with this piece of shit,
Yeah.
And the police show up and all that. It was 100% my fault. I told the cop right off the bat, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And they went to hand that cop their ID, and he went, no, I'll fuck with you in a minute, word for word. And then it was like, I need to see your ID. I was like, okay. So I hand it to him, and they're like, well, he said, so when did they hit you? But he started like kind of wording it like it was their fault. I was like,
Yeah.
it was a green light. I wasn't supposed to turn. I turned, and I was bad time, bad place. He's like, okay, so when did they run the red light? I was like, they didn't run a red light. They were in the right. I fucked up.
Yeah.
But it was like so blatant. I was like, holy shit. Like, is this really, am I that blind? Like,
Yeah.
this is what they deal with on a daily basis? And I was like, just so you know, my family fought in World War II for Germany, And he was like, okay, yeah, they're in trouble. I was like, okay, good. There is, if you look up the
Dude, we're gonna have
Barbie,
to wrap this up. My stomach's gurgling.
if you look up the Barbie family history, there's a man named Klaus Barbie.
Jesus Christ.
It's spelled different,
Klaus.
but we are true related. Because I've always joked about family in Germany and all that, and then I really started looking into this because my grandpa was like, we had pieces of shit in our family in Nazi Germany, and he was the butcher of Lyon or some shit. He would skin people.
Oh, Jesus.
And I've never worried about it. It's spelled different. We are related, but I moved on. I didn't, have depression over it. And I signed into an open mic one night, and this other comic goes, Barbie. I went, yeah. And are you a Nazi? No, not that I know,
Yeah.
And
Not today. Not
Yeah.
today.
he was like, Klaus Barbie was a Nazi, and I knew exactly what he was talking about, but I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know.
Just play dumb.
Never heard of the guy. And he was like, yeah, he's the biggest piece of shit. I was like, oh, well, I don't know him, and but I've only been called out one time over it. But
Are you sure Hitler wasn't up there? I mean, just
yeah, I mean, if we're
not that we're ranking Nazis on this show, guys.
Yeah.
On that note, guys. Dude, I gotta thank you so much for coming on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Where can everybody see you and follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram. It's on Instagram. It's just at Garrett Barbie. TikTok is G Barbie Comedy. I have a Facebook page, G Barbie Comedy, or you can add me as a friend.
Okay.
I'm starting to max out on friend requests right now, but just everywhere. And man, I'd like to pitch shows, but I never know where the fuck I'm gonna be. Like I said, I'm gonna be in Sarasota, Florida for 4 days doing 3 shows, and then Plano and back here and.
Well, man, thank you so
Everywhere.
much for coming on. I think this is the start of a good friendship. I really feel like I got to know you, man.
Yeah,
And
dude.
it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
I've enjoyed being here, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been Garrett Barbie. I'm Jared Ralphie Allen. This has been Unloading Meat. Peace.
Peace.
Unloading the meat. I'm loading 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 the meat.